Good morning, pop culture. We are live. It is Halloween, Thursday, October 31st, 2019. It's 7:56 a.m. and it's time to start the spookiest show of the year. Actually, no, we have all kinds of stuff to talk about. It's not a Halloween themed show exclusively, but we're going to have a little fun today. I'll show some of my college Halloween photos. So there we go. But yeah, Good Morning Pop Culture is back. Why? Well, because it got over 1,000 thumbs up during the High Council. I don't even think I had to mention it once this week. 1.2 thousand views, and here I am the following day. Yes, people would have liked it on Wednesday, but the High Council went into Wednesday, so we make it on Thursday because, I need a little thing called sleep. But I'm back. I'm here. I'm happy. I'm caffeinated, mostly, well hydrated, and ready to have some fun. So who we got here? We got, yes, Mikey Woods, you made an early stream. Congratulations. It's late depending on where you are in the world. I feel like Good Morning Pop Culture is the show that puts the world in world-class bullshitters. Janos, good morning to you too, my friend. What up, Blasted Heath? Yes, caffeinated. Everyone's happy. I don't know if Michael Myers is going to show up today. My picture of me dressed as Michael Myers is. I will tell some of the fun stories about how I used to hang out and scare people in the dorms at Michigan State. Me, a giant, dressed as Michael Myers. The funny thing is, everyone would always say, "Oh, you look just like him." I'm like, realistically, Michael Myers is probably about 5'10" and really skinny. So, well, maybe more like 6'2". Either way, I'd fit more of a Kane Hodder Jason, even though I have met Kane Hodder and he's significantly smaller than I am. I could have been a good Jason. Oh well, and Beverly Goldberg could have been a lawyer. Good morning, Lori. Good morning, Samuel Aragon. And there's Stone Cold Jeremy. What's up? Or I should say, what? So, well, we're at 200 people already. It used to be the rule is as soon as we get to 200 people, we'll start the main topic. And you know what? We will. What the Sith is, am I properly muffed this morning? No, but next week this time I will be. So leave that as you will. So I wanted to talk about the media turning its back on Star Wars. This is a topic I'm going to make its own video on, but it's something I wanted to be able to bounce off of you guys directly because this is important to all of us. It's not necessarily that we talk about Star Wars because it's, yes, it is our favorite thing for the most part. It's important, though. It's the biggest franchise, or was the biggest franchise, and if they can pull bullshit like this off with Star Wars, what's going to keep them from doing it with everything else moving forward? In many ways, I'm saying maybe Star Wars should be made an example of, so they don't try to do this moving forward. I think most people would love the MCU to stay, I don't want to say holy, because that's really not the right way to say it, but they would like the MCU to remain on track, be true to itself. And Star Wars has betrayed itself, it's betrayed its fan base, and it seems like the media is finally starting to wake up to this. Now, one thing about the Fandom Menace is we're early to the party. We're the first ones there. We call it like we see it, and we've been fairly right 90% of the time. See, I wasn't one of the people that was saying Kathleen Kennedy was going to get fired, so can't lump me in there, but we've called all sorts of things. And Benioff and Weiss and just exiting Star Wars seems to be another thing that people in the Fandom Menace have, seen. We're like Darth Vader's nightmares, Force Vision. Well, yeah, it's a Force Vision if you're still Sith, but I digress. But we've seen Scott Mendelson turn his back on Disney Star Wars by saying maybe there shouldn't be any more. And there are other articles out there that I've seen. Where are we at? We have over on Yahoo News, from the national interest, they have lost interest and faith in Star Wars. They have an article titled "The Force is Gone, Why I Don't Have a New Hope for the Rise of Skywalker." We also have stuff from Inverse talking about, well, that's something else. But it seems like big, reputable, in quotations, news sources are essentially on our side of the argument now. Maybe it's taken a couple years. Maybe the Disney checks haven't cashed properly. But people, in due time, everything gets old. It wears out its welcome. That's why there are other franchises that are classy about certain things. Hell, Star Wars was really like that up until a few years ago. In that Scott Mendelson article that I'm going to make a video on for maybe tomorrow, all the Star Wars announcements weren't for the fans. The Star Wars announcements were for the stockholders. As a fan of, I look at, I'm one of those people, I will wait for a good thing. I don't go to my favorite restaurant all the time, even though it's in Dayton. It's called the Pine Club. If you're in the area, I suggest you check it out. Give the extra heavy filet or the double porterhouse if you're really up for a challenge. But I love their food. Every time I go, it is A+, 10 out of 10. Great service, great food, great atmosphere. But I don't go all the time. I want to make it special. Same with Star Wars. I don't need a Star Wars movie every year. I don't need a Star Wars TV show on every quarter. Sometimes waiting, that was a Tom Petty song. Waiting is the hardest part. Waiting for Star Wars was never the hardest part. You went in and you saw, let's say, the Phantom Menace. Didn't really like it, but I got time to digest and get over it because I saw Attack of the Clones right away. And then I didn't really like Attack of the Clones, but within 3 years, I got back into the Star Wars swing of things by picking up the DVDs in 2004, rebuying the toy line, rediscovering Star Wars. And by 2005, I was there for opening day of Revenge of the Sith. Loved it. Really rode that high for a decade. The ending of Star Wars was perfect for me. Got into the Clone Wars, got into all that stuff. The 3-year gap was perfect. When a Star Wars game came out, it was a big deal. Now, there were more Star Wars games when Lucas was in charge than there are now within the 4-year Disney gap, which is fine. Most of them were better than what we have received. I'd say all of them were better than what we got with the Battlefront series, the new one, the EA Star Wars games. And the fiasco behind the second one, the loot boxes, the gambling, all that stuff, compiled with the Last Jedi and all the Kathleen Kennedy stuff, really made it put Star Wars in a hard place. And the media fought with us. They fought against the fans. They fought everyone. Well, we are the fans, so let me rephrase that. But they fought hard against us, the fans of Star Wars, for so many months, years. We were called literally everything you could think of. You had people that were the underlings of Lucasfilm, like a Chuck Wendig. You had people say we did this to Kelly Marie Tran, all that stuff. And all the fight, all the battles, all the shit we went through has been, all for naught for them because they've, done an about face. The fandom menace, the people out there that feel betrayed by Star Wars and all this shit, we've kind of come out on top. Now, The Rise of Skywalker hasn't been released. We don't know the quality of the film. It could be great. It could be terrible. It could make $1. It could make $1 trillion. We don't know yet. But the fact that they're talking about Star Wars and giving up on it goes to show that the shit we were saying had a lot of validity. We stuck with it too. In 2015, when I said, I hate The Force Awakens, it's garbage, and everyone told me I was stupid and this and that, and I was wrong, I held my ground. And then we had The Last Jedi, and a lot of people realized, hey, this guy wasn't completely full of shit. And so now I feel like that's a lot of people in the fandom, and a lot of creators, a lot of people watching in the chat. There's tons of passionate people. And then you have basically, we were all right. We were right all along, and it's a very good feeling. Now, I'm curious to know, and you guys tell me in the chat, if you think this will have any reflection on the Rise of Skywalker. Do you think people will just kind of wait for Disney Plus? Will they wait to stream it? Because we already know, with Disney Plus at least, that Disney is trying everything to sweeten those numbers. I mean, people are getting text messages, hey, free year of Disney Plus if you're a Verizon member. It's like, okay. And those numbers are going to be added into that, factored into it. So if Verizon has, 35 million people that qualify for it, that's an extra 35 million for the streaming service that Disney Plus can say, hey, look how many people we have. It's weird. Disney's in a place not about creating entertainment and entertaining the fans. They're trying to not like anything. They're trying to take over and basically control how you interact with all these things. So it's going to be a bizarre time. But if this movie were to, let's say, underperform massively at the box office, which, by the way, they're projecting its domestic gross to be under The Force Awakens and slightly under The Last Jedi. So that's on the low end. And even on the high end, it can't reach The Force Awakens height. So we're always meant to believe, or at least we're told, how, oh man, it's beating the Avengers. It's doing this. It's doing all these crazy things. That's okay, fine. But then you guys get more information, more data, if you're a Racer 117, and then you backtrack. And this has been the quickest backtrack within a week. Not even 2 weeks or a month or whatever, the build up to the film. Within a week, they're backtracking. Oh, it's probably, going to be lower, because they don't want to overestimate the hype. They're trying to cut out any criticism from Star Wars fans about the overestimation of the Rise of Skywalker's box office. And the fact that space horses and Kylo Ren and the Death Star remnants aren't exciting people scares them, because in their minds, they're throwing everything they can at the fans. They're like, oh, look, guys, we're doing this and we're doing that. Problem is, we don't care. You didn't build a proper story, and we're fed up with your shit. So, we got a lot of people here. We got 515 people watching. Folks, if you're enjoying this show, hit the thumbs up button. It would be greatly appreciated. It lets me know that you enjoy Good Morning Pop Culture, which, because of the calendar year, we'll try to do a few more. The reason I'm doing this one as early as I am today, the only reason I'm a couple minutes late, actually, to rephrase that, my web browser froze. I've been up for a while. My mom had a car wreck yesterday, so I had to drive her to work. So that was that. But I'm up here and ready to have a Good Morning Pop Culture. The funny thing is, the last time that she had something happen to her car was how Good Morning Pop Culture was born. So symbolically, I should end the show today because it began and ended with a car crash, but I won't, because I enjoy this and you guys like it so much. Next year, we don't know what scheduling is going to be like, but I do know that within a few weeks, like 2, we're going to have some Good Morning Pop Culture mugs available. We're going to have some WCBS merchandise. Now that the comic book is done, getting ready to be printed and shipped and all that stuff. Well, not getting ready. It's gone. That's out of my hands. It's been done on my end for weeks. Now that that's taken care of, we can move into the next phase. Like I said, either on a live stream or somewhere, I had to get this done first. So that's going to be our next evolution. And if you're one of the people that missed the book, well, there'll be another printing and all that stuff for you guys. So just keep watching what we do. Let's see. Liquor Jim, shout out to you. Yeah, my mom is fine. She wasn't hurt. It wasn't with another car. It was dark and, just stuff like that. But it can be taken care of. She's not injured. That's the important part. If you were watching Mindless Bullshit yesterday, I left for about 10 minutes in the stream. I found out the news. She had just walked in the house. So, I had to take care of that. But everything was good. Thank you for all the cards you send. I might take a couple of those out to California with me and send those back to my mom. So there we go. What up? Shout out to PQSNet. There we go. Rose Tico figures, I got like 50 of them, if not more. It's they're dumb, but they were sent to me as a joke. So there we go. Yeah, woke busters. Oh yeah, the idea that will come to fruition next year. I'm excited. So we had a couple super chats roll in, actually both from Logan Michael Anti-Funko Pops. Thank you. He says, good morning, Pop Gay. Did you see the NECA Creepshow teaser? Looked sick. I did not. I haven't been following anything NECA as of late. I need to. And Logan Michael also says, I'm celebrating Halloween this year by watching Halloween 78 at the Alamo Draft House. Well, Logan Michael, I'm celebrating by having Halloween on right now. It's the scene where Lori, Annie, and Linda are walking home. They just saw Michael Myers for the first time. So I'm enjoying the film right now. It's my favorite horror film. It is Halloween. It is my favorite holiday. This is a year where I'm not celebrating or doing much. I've been so busy with the channel, so I haven't had time to eat a piece of candy or do anything fun in regards to Halloween. So tonight's show, we may have some fun Halloween stuff to talk about. Who knows? But we have a lot to cover. Terminator. We have to cover more of the Star Wars crap, some Marvel news, everything. It's, the epitome of pop culture for a reason. That's what we are. Yes. Hey Jerk, Speed Kills, Lives in Flames. Got it. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a good film. So that is a great Halloween film to watch. Office Buck Truesdale says, happy Halloween. Well, Officer Buck Truesdale, thank you very much, and happy Halloween to you. In your neck of the woods, it's been Halloween for quite a while. So I'm gonna go daytime trick or treat. I'd like the daytime Halloween day drink, but besides the day being redundant, there's no one to day drink with on Halloween. See, Halloween's always been special to me because it's the one holiday where you can always act like a kid. As a kid, you get to dress up, get your candy, stay up late. And I went to Catholic school where in Catholicism, the day after Halloween's All Saints Day, and they always gave us the day after Halloween off school. So, for example, if Halloween was on a Thursday, that was the best because you had Friday off and then the whole weekend. But it was nice. I never had to trick or treat and then go to school the next day up until, I guess, high school. But I didn't trick or treat in high school. Either worked or just hung out on Halloween. So that was that. Once you get to college and as an adult later on, Halloween parties, people dress up, people drink. Had a lot of fun at Halloween parties. And maybe we'll talk about that after hours. But Halloween still holds a special place in my heart. I know next year with Jesse, we're going to try to do a Halloween party together because that's just something I'd like to do. And I haven't had the facilities to do it. So there we go. Yes, I did butcher your name. Thank you for telling me, Officer Buck. He says, wow, you butchered my name. So it's Officer Buck, Tud Russell. Is that it? Tud Russell? Did I get it right that time? I'm sorry. It's early. Thank you, George. Happy Halloween to you, my friend. Congratulations, Scorpio 808. Today, it's your wife's and yours anniversary. 9 years married. Thanks for this. Glad to hear your mom's okay. Also hope that Disney will put together a great group of right content. Well, happy anniversary to you. That's always awesome to hear that people are together for that long. And that's kind of rare today. People get divorced all the time. But you guys are making it work. I'm going to make it work continuously. So that's awesome. I think Dion's been married for 6 years already. Shit. Where does the time go? That's all I can say. I can't believe this is our 4th year on the air. So I don't really know who's excited for the space horses in Star Wars. They rise up from the ice planet. They run up the sides of Star Destroyers and they fight on the outer bridge or whatever the hell it's called. It also makes the scale of the Star Destroyer look minuscule. I mean, seeing that shit makes the Star Destroyer look tiny. Are we going to learn that the Empire has tiny Star Destroyers to, make things all right? No, it's dumb. It's really dumb. And I don't like Sporces either. Yeah, Dion's been married to his husband happily. Toxic masculinity, thank you. He's going to go up to the mountains and hang out with you, and you guys are going to rope and ride some Broncos. Oh, the 7-year itch coming up for Dion. I hope not. I hope not. He's got a great wife, great family. It's always fun to go visit them because it's weird. He is my college buddy and still my best friend. But it's like, oh, you slowly evolved into Dad Dion. But he's also like, I know Dr. Coffinails will understand this, but it's like you're still able to maintain some of your identity or a good chunk of it. At least to me, he's the same dude. But once the kid goes to bed, it's 2010 Dion all over again. Oh, snow already, Thunder Robots. It's early. It's too early in the year for snow. We've had rain for 2.5 days now, so I'm ready to, move on. I don't like cold weather. That's why I'm going to California. Actually, that's not why I'm going to California at all. It's like you can have cold weather here or catch on fire out there. So for some stupid reason, I'm risking the fire. But I'm not taking anything, with me that I can't abandon minus a computer. So the Ewoks were believable. I guess it would be believable within the realm of a planet inhabited by small, vicious creatures. Did they have to be cute and merchandise the way they were? No. I mean, that was a brilliant move, in quotation, brilliant, by George Lucas. But I don't think I've ever owned an Ewok figure. And I was the kid who, in the 90s, the Power of the Force 2 Star Wars stuff, I had everything I wanted, and I never wanted Ewoks. Return of the Jedi toys that I played with regularly was Jedi Luke. I had Han and Endor gear, and then I had Princess Leia that came with a speeder bike, so she always had her helmet on. And that was it. I never wanted Ewoks. Didn't really want the Emperor. didn't want. I had an Endor Trooper as well, but yeah, Ewoks never did it for me at any age. A lot of people say, "Oh, you get older, you get cynical, you hate the Ewoks because of age." I'm like, I just never liked them. They were there. I never liked cutesy shit. I guess you could say Pokemon was cutesy shit, but that was more of like a phenomenon. So that was why I got into it like that. But a hitter Pokemon is like Scyther or something like that, or a Charizard, which is not cutesy and sweet and innocent looking. It's a monster with knives for hands. So that's always kind of cool to look at. But yeah, the Ewoks are evil. Anyone who says differently doesn't know what they're talking about. Yeah, they are. They are evil. They were going to eat Luke and Han. Well, they wouldn't have been able to eat Luke. He could have just force pushed them away. But they were going to eat them. We don't want to forget that. It's funny to talk to Mecha Random because Mecha Random enjoys Ewoks and Porgs, and I don't. And it's funny, people say, well, it's always been a hallmark of Star Wars. Well, when Star Wars was at its biggest, which is arguably the first film, there weren't cutesy moments. I mean, let's be honest, Star Wars had some pretty raw moments. I think on that 70s show, they make a joke where Kitty Foreman's like, they cut that guy's arm off. This is not a nice movie or something. And then she goes, this is the voice of CNN. So that was a nice James Earl Jones callback. If he was the voice of CNN. Was CNN out in 19? Okay, Google. What year did CNN debut? Okay. Oh.
1980.
Oh, okay, then never mind. She wouldn't have known that. That was an anachronistic joke.
Had broken the mold.
Shut up. That was an anachronistic joke. Yeah, I've heard too that the original plan was for George Lucas, or the original plan was to visit a planet of Wookiees, and that would have been so much cooler. It would have been much more violent, a little more. I mean, remember, folks, this movie came out in '83. We were only either was it Dark Crystal? Was it '86? We're just in an era where you could have movies like Return to Oz, Dark Crystal, Witches. The 80s was the decade of the kids film that could legitimately be scary. We didn't have to be all saccharine and sweet. See, that was when Disney had no power. In the 1980s, people weren't going to see Disney films, lined up around the block. They're still not, because Disney just buys out all the theaters and there's enough seats for everybody because Star Wars doesn't sell. But once you get to Little Mermaid, then that changes at the end of the decade. But while Disney was trying to do Black Cauldron and trying to catch up with the trends, you had Never-Ending Story. You had all of these things that appealed to kids. The Goonies, not scary at any point, but those kids could have been killed. They were going to put Chunk's arm in the blender. Let's not forget all of these things. So Return of the Jedi should have been that kind of film in 1983. I think it would have been much better. Imagine, okay, hear me out. So we have Star Wars and Empire exactly the way they are. We get into Return of the Jedi. It's directed by David Lynch. It's really fucking weird, but still fits within the framework of Star Wars. And it's a planet of Wookiees, and they just rip apart stormtroopers. We see back breaks like Bane did to Batman. We see like helmets fly, but then it's implied there are still heads inside. Just shit like that. That'd be kind of cool. I could still sell 1 million toys. How many Chewbacca figures sold? Tons. Hundreds of thousands. As a kid, you wanted Chewbacca because he was cool. He was an alien. And for me, he was Han Solo's sidekick. Or partner. We'll just call him partner in crime. So that was the case. You kind of had to have them go together hand in hand. More Wookiees would have been awesome. Imagine like in Revenge of the Sith, on the shores of Kashyyyk. That was a cool scene. You could have done something like that in 1983. Maybe not on the shores, but it would have been awesome. Double bandolier straps. You could have had people shooting 2 bowcasters, different Wookiee haircuts, all sorts of things. The Ewoks just, it feels cheap. It feels like a cheaper version. They look like they're wearing carpet suits half the time. And maybe that was the reason that the Chewbacca suit was so expensive, that to do a whole bunch of them wouldn't be advantageous to the budget, and Lucas didn't think. There could be 1,000,001 reasons why they didn't do the Wookiee planet. But I would have had that, and that would have been cool. You wouldn't have had to have C-3PO's Golden God shit either, but I do like that scene. We had a lot of super chats rolling, actually. Etep Wakoyan's place to be reviewed says, Happy Halloween, El Presidente. I hope all is well. Yeah, All is well. Thank you. Etep Queen's place to be reviews. Dragon Lord 1125 says nothing. Thank you. Dion Special Horse Lil Biscuit says, happy sticky Halloween. Can't wait for Star Wars horses. I can't either because Dion and I will watch the film in the same room. And it'll be amazing to see him cringe. He'll be like, ha, those motherfuckers died. He'll be happy when a space horse gets shot. Shawnee says, Jeff, how tall are you? 6'5", 320? Wouldn't be a bad estimation of my size. Definitely 6'5". Getting close to 320. Been losing a lot of weight. Intentionally, not sick or anything like that. Being sick kind of started me off, and now I just don't have the appetite I used to have. And it's cool, though. I had, everything else is healthy. Been to the doctor. Normal muscle growth, all that stuff. So it's cool. Nice to wear a belt that's a whole different size bracket smaller. And it's nice to, like when I went to get my suit, I was like, holy shit, I did not gain any weight. I feel great. Everything's good. So, yeah, Sean, that's pretty close. Geek Truth 64 says, I'm excited for Space Biscuit. Hope McGuire shows up. You'll get your rent when you tame this damn horse. That's what he'll say to the First Order. I would love to see that. Okay, folks in the chat, who would Tobey Maguire play in Star Wars? Like, what would be his best role? Obviously, Darth Vader's off the table because he's taken. But I'd like to know, who do you think Tobey Maguire would play in Star Wars well? I'm trying to think. Grand Moff Maguire? That'd be kind of cool. We could have that. Yes, The Last Jedi was so bad, even Solo was better. Solo is a dumb film, but it's not as malicious as The Last Jedi. The idea of a young Han Solo movie could have worked had you done it in a different time frame. Have it be around when Rogue One took place. Do that CGI or that deep fake face shit with Harrison Ford, and there you go. That would have been really cool. Rose Tico's love interest. That's my favorite one. Tobey Maguire plays Sean McCothna or some shit like that. I don't know. I'm just making this up as I go. But he would be Rose Tico's love interest. He's a space chiropractor, a spiropractor. And he teaches Rose how to love when she's being rehabilitated after her crash on Crate. And that's a movie I'd like to see. That's a reality I'd like to live in. Tobey Maguire as whatever name I just said. Return of the Jedi was the first Star Wars movie I have vivid memories of seeing in the theater. Loved it. Empire Strikes Back became my favorite after taping the TV premiere in 1987. Wearing the tape out. There was a short period of time where Return of the Jedi was my favorite, only because I was, 7? No, I was older than 7. I think I was 8. Yeah, about 8 or 9. No, 8 when I found Return of the Jedi. It was cool. Loved it. Because of the happy ending and stuff like that. I think I used to watch Empire Strikes Back. Ow, I hit my leg. I used to watch Empire Strikes Back a lot once Han Solo became my favorite character, because that's the only Star Wars film that he appears in from the beginning. It's 45 minutes into A New Hope where he's introduced, and probably 30 minutes until he shows up in Return of the Jedi. And let's be honest, Return of the Jedi is Luke Skywalker's film. He is so cool in that film. He's got the green lightsaber. He's got all sorts of shit. And he wins. He saves the day. So it's the nice completion of his journey. Darth Toby. Ugh. No, thank you. Would not want that. Tim Riggs, thank you for the super chat. He says, I could see Toby playing Holdo's soy boy toy. Soy boy toy. Say that 5 times fast. I won't, but you can. I would not want to... That's not a reality I want to live in. Thinking that somebody could love Admiral Holdo. Like, to me, that's more unbelievable than everything else in Star Wars. That someone could love that purple-haired buffoon. Like, oh, beam swords made of light? Yeah, no problem. That's not a big deal. Space travel faster than the speed of light? Sure, not a big deal. A guy that got his arms, legs, and dick burned off? Yeah, fine. He came back in a robotic suit. I'll buy everything. But somebody could love her? No. Never. Never. It's just not believable in any stretch of the imagination. So there we go. I would not want to see a Rose Tico. Oh god, people are quoting episode 3, or maybe it's episode 2. Ugh, the Love Has Blinded You stuff. Ugh, I'm getting puking in my mouth a little. Let's just not. I remember they were hinting that Holdo's lover was meant to be Princess Leia. That would have been too stupid. It's like, guys, you're clearly promoting this shit. We understand. We get you. But maybe, just maybe, you don't try to put all that in one movie. You know? Once or twice. You know, if you're going to introduce this shit into Star Wars, this progressive or whatever you want to call this shit, maybe you do it slowly and not all at once to have pushback from the fans. Just saying. Or maybe you don't. If you're going to have a lesbian character, cool. Just don't make her in love with Princess Leia, because Princess Leia is already established to be with Han, or had been with Han. They fucked that up. And, you know, that's the case there. Yeah, Han Solo was amazing, especially. That's my favorite part of the film, when he goes, "You!" and he saves Luke at the Death Star. I would imagine if I saw that in theaters, I'd have cheered just like everyone else. So that's it's an exciting prospect. So, folks, we have over 820 people watching. Can we hit that thumbs up button to let me know you guys like Good Morning Pop Culture, the only show where I talk directly to you guys for however long need be. We can, it's if you're working and lurking, if you're off school, if you're off work. We saw that Stone Cold Jeremy was off work today. I know a lot of folks are working and lurking. So, Sith Scissoring. Star Wars Scissor Sisters. Scissor Sisters is a band. Funnily enough. So there we go. I mean, there's a limit to what you could put in a Star Wars movie, but that's not it. Sign me up. I'll watch every movie every day. They'll never make Brie Larson a Star Wars character. Because here's the thing. This anti-fan campaign that they were pushing for last year, beginning of this year, has backfired. People, look at, if you respected the fans, if you did all these things, everyone and their uncle would have shown up to Galaxy's Edge. They didn't. They would be able to move Star Wars merchandise, but they haven't. To try to poke the bear or twist the knife, it's just not going to work anymore. We don't live in like, they have woken up to that. You know, they fire Chuck Wendig. They tell these people to respect the fans. Like, we are why you all have jobs in Hollywood. If you constantly shit on us, we just don't go. You know, I don't care how good a movie looks. If Rian Johnson's directing it, I'm not going to go see it. I don't care how great the series could be. If Kathleen Kennedy produces it moving forward, I just won't see it. You know? There are limits. It's with any profession. You know, if a restaurant fails to deliver a good meal consistently, you just don't go back. If your doctor performs a bad surgery, you sue him and you don't go back to that doctor. It baffles me how people in the media always try to make up excuses for just Disney-owned properties. Yes, Disney is the big property, the big franchise holder, but enough failures and anyone can go out of business. So people need to keep that in mind. There's only so long you can keep the con up. Yeah, Antarctic Vortex. I guess I met Kane in 2016, so that's when he would have been, you know, much shorter. But I just remember seeing him going, "Oh man, Jason's not that tall," but he's a nice guy. He talked to me outside of the car for a minute, and he gives his money to charities and shit. So much respect to that dude. Matthew says Star Wars 1977 is a near perfect movie. Few movies are as good, except for maybe Raiders of the Lost Ark. Well, I do think Raiders of the Lost Ark is a fantastic movie. I would say it's as good as Star Wars. I'd say they're both equally great. That's why my top 10 list is very weird, because I don't have any Indiana Jones films on there, even though I consider them better than a lot of the films on my top 10 list. It's weird. I'd have to really sit down and maybe rewrite the list. Obviously, it's Back to the Future, Star Wars, Die Hard, Beverly Hills Cop, Big Lebowski, and then Hot Fuzz. But, Indiana Jones, I like the whole Indiana Jones trilogy. It's just great. Jaws. People think I hate Jaws because I hate sharks. I don't hate Jaws. Jaws is a good film. I watched it with Jesse in in Milwaukee. We were laying in bed and we're just like, let's see what's on TV. And AMC had the 31 Days of Halloween, and they did monster movies, and they considered Jaws a monster movie, which is great. And it was followed up by Jurassic Park, which was kind of meh. But I digress. I watched Star Trek, the original Star Trek. No Next Generation for me. Tried watching it as a kid, just didn't fall in love with it, and I don't do anything else. I'm weird. I'm a sci-fi guy. I enjoy it immensely, but I don't eat up every sci-fi franchise. Like, I don't read every comic book series and all this stuff. I'm deep in the geek culture, into the lore, but it depends on what it is. So Captain Kirk and his crew, that's my Star Trek. Not Picard, not Janeway, not Sisko, not whoever Scott Bakula played. Just straight up William Shatner and the crew. Love it. I could watch that show any day of the week. A good portion of the comic was drawn with that show in the background. Jeff only wants a movie while I'm down with Jesse. Thank you, John. That's the only way I'll get through Jaws, is if we're laying in bed. The Expanse is a movie to watch, or a show I want to watch. I'm not saying that Jurassic Park is a meh movie. I'm saying Jurassic Park horror. It's just not scary to me. I consider it like an action or an adventure film or something like that. Jurassic Park is not Halloween material. That is big summer blockbuster, or any time of the year film like a Star Wars, but it is not what I would consider a fall classic where you watch it to get in the mood. Like Halloween, I put that on to get in the mood for today, Halloween, or A Nightmare on Elm Street, or a Friday the 13th movie, no matter how shitty those movies are. But Jurassic Park just isn't. So I can't say that. How far does my video game love go back? It goes all the way back to the NES. Not to make this a sad stream, but the only thing I really inherited from my dad was his Nintendo, because he died at 23, so it's a much different thing to be like, oh, I got this and this and that. So there's very few things he owned possession-wise, but his Nintendo was what I inherited. So we had Nintendo. He got it in 86 or 87. I don't know. I was born in 88, but I've always had it. And so I grew up on the Nintendo, and I got a Super Nintendo. I've had every Nintendo console except the Wii U, which I chose not to buy. I have a Switch. I think it's one of the best consoles in 20 years. I've enjoyed the shit out of it. But at the same time, I've also had every PlayStation, all but the Xbox One, a couple handhelds. I never did Sega growing up as a kid, because Mom could afford one, and we knew Nintendo and Mario. And Sonic looked cool. I watched the cartoon. I even had like a little Sonic toy from either McDonald's or Burger King. He was like on a little orange cloud, and you press the button and he would roll on a wheel. So that was cool. But it goes far back. I found myself playing a few more games these days in the in-between times. A lot of Tetris, a little bit of Smash Brothers here and there. But next year I'm going to have a Twitch channel. It won't interfere with this channel. That's why it's going to be there, exclusive, crossing over. That way, if you're into the channel, awesome, you can watch everything we do. If you're into the comics and the political commentary, the comics and all this stuff, the entertainment, the pop culture commentary, this channel won't change. But it's just something new and fun to do. So that's how far it goes back. Let's see. Tim Riggs, thank you very much for your super chat. He says, I'm happy you finally watched Casablanca. It's one of the very few movies I consider close to a perfect film as possible. I enjoyed the shit out of Casablanca. It was fun. It was funny. It was well made, very well acted. You picked up a lot of stuff in it. So I enjoyed it a great deal. I'm glad I finally saw it. It only took 31 years. Well, 30. I wasn't 31 yet back then, 2 weeks ago. But no, Tim, I really enjoyed it. It makes me want to go back and watch a lot more of the classics. In college, I discovered the Maltese Falcon, which is one of my favorites from that era. And in terms of just older films, I've always been an Alfred Hitchcock fan. So Rear Window, Psycho, all of that stuff. Love it. If I were to sit down, if I was a computer and I was tasked with making a movie, I would basically take all of my favorite movies, all of my favorite directors, and I'd probably make something close to a Twilight Zone, which is obviously TV, Hitchcock, John Carpenter type of movie. You know, it'd have the violence and the action of John Carpenter, the suspense of John Carpenter and Hitchcock, and the thoughtfulness of like a Rod Serling. So maybe down the road, I'll create a comic or something that covers all of those needs. It'll be kind of fun. Actually, it'll be very, very fun. Klaus Torek says, "Good morning, Jeff. Rewatched last week's podcast, and I'd like to think I had a hand in creating Barry the Fat Jedi. Happy Halloween." I'm sure you did. Honestly, the thing about the podcast and all the YouTube stuff is I'm always making it, and then I'm moving on to the next one. Like, I'm not trying to sound like more trying to make myself sound grandiose, but I could understand when Stan Lee or somebody goes, "Oh, I don't remember what story I wrote. I remember I did it, but I can't tell you about it." So, like, I know Barry the Fat Jedi is a thing, but at the same time, I can't remember exactly anything outside of the podcast and just laughing my ass off about Barry the Fat Jedi. So, Klaus Stork, you very well could have. But, you know, we all love Barry the Fat Jedi. But thank you for the happy Halloween wishes. It will be a happy Halloween. It'll be a nice, productive day. I'll get shit done, get to the gym, and get on the show tonight. Tonight's show's going to be a lot of fun. Andrew Clark, thank you very much. He says, Admiral Holdo is a Mary Zoo. I see what you did there. Her hair, clothes, behavior, and death. Original characters are like her and Poe is wrong for disagreeing. Original characters like her and Poe is wrong for disagreeing. A strategist Sue. I like what she did with the married Sue, like Sun Tzu. You know, it's funny. I'll go into a GameStop and they'll have sold countless games, stacks of toys, but Holdo remains the same. And I've even gone back and filmed again. On Monday, we have a toy video, and you might see a surprise from Vice Admiral Holdo pop up. You gotta wonder how. Okay, here's the question for everyone in the chat: how the hell did even side characters like a Mon Mothma, or just like characters that appear for 1 to 2 minutes on screen, how are they better written and have more meaning than Holdo? I don't get where the magic went. You're supposedly involved with Lawrence Kasdan and all these people that made Star Wars great, and you have all the money in the world with Disney, but it's like you guys can't win. I think it's intentional. You make these shitty characters, but like, what's the point? You're trying to it's more about an ideal than a good story, and that just doesn't work. Idealistic storytelling, when it, I guess, is representative of the audience, it'll work. Like, we all like good versus evil and stuff like that. You know, we all like to think of ourselves as the hero of our own stories. You know, that's why Joker works, because it makes you think, like, what did I do to make the Joker? In a sense, what did I do? What have I done? What have I ignored? How have I contributed to these problems? And so you watch Joker and you think about that, and you come out, you know, you're just a little more conscious of the decisions you've made or will make. But like a Star Wars thing, it's like you're being talked down to. Like, I have this internal rule. It's like, if somebody talks to me for like 2 to 3 minutes, and then I respond, you're talking to me. If you talk at me for 5 minutes, again, you're talking at me. I feel like I'm being lectured to, and I lose interest very quickly. I feel like the Disney characters talk down to us. I feel like Disney and the media talk down to us. It's, you know, I hate to say it, it's all about the money for most. And with whatever's going on right now, it feels like it's about the money and the power. And first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the woman. And if you tell me what that movie's from, you just get a quick high five over the internet. But Holdo is just representative of that idealistic over, you know, quality filmmaking. Boris, I'm going to be talking about the Stream Wars coming up. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you guys, but I'll be out of town for a chunk of this year remaining, and you'll never know, because I'll have videos and live streams and everything just the same. But within, a few days to 2 weeks ish, hint, hint, I am going to have a streaming video up. Remember, I don't know if you're one of the people that asked me, but a few weeks ago, okay, we got the answer. Scarface. Who was the first person to get it? I think Alex Zen was the first person. Yes, Alex Zen. Shout out to you for Scarface. Boom, you win. Air 5. No, what I wanted to say though, Boris, about the streaming stuff is I'm going to have a video about it because I have this discussion with Jesse. That's the funny part. Like, we'll have these discussions. We seem to be on opposite sides. Sometimes we actually are arguing two separate things, which I've noticed about us. She's arguing how the options of streaming is good for filmmakers and independent people and XYZ. And I go, that's awesome, but I'm a consumer. I'm just like the audience. After a certain point, I'm not going to spend more money. I may have it, but I don't want to spend it. And then I start to weigh, what is your streaming library worth to me? This sounds very narrow-minded, but Hulu, I keep Hulu around for King of the Hill and to watch the Goldbergs each week when the season's on. Hulu does have good stuff. I looked at my watch later list. It has like Wayne's World 1 and 2 and just films I like, and they get James Bond every once in a while, even though I own them on Blu-ray. Used to have them on DVD, gave those away to Dion as a gift. But I'm going to do a whole video on that because I don't think the streaming, having 12 to 20 to 15 different streaming platforms is going to be viable long term. That video is going to come out right before Disney Plus. So I'm hoping a lot of people will be thinking about the streams and the stuff like that and how, to weigh the costs and the benefits across what you want. Are you like me who enjoys consuming entertainment, but there's just a limit to what you'll want to spend? Like, I love having Netflix because of the Twilight Zone and a few other things, but maybe it's because I'm a YouTube producer and I don't have time to watch shows left and right. But I think even if I had $1 billion in cash and all the free time in the world, I probably even wouldn't lie around and watch Netflix or any streaming service. With that kind of money, I'd go out, I would do stuff. I love to draw, even though it, nearly killed me to do some of the projects I had to do. Like, just, maybe TV is not as important as it used to be for me. If I was younger and Netflix existed when I was in grade school, might have not been a great student. But thank God, I grew up when I did. Got to write papers on paper and on, a computer. So got the best of both worlds. Let's see. Timothy Riggs says, you spent time in LA, Jeff. You've seen it in person, and you'll see it and hear it from a lot more after you move out there. In terms of the, what? Are we talking about the Casablanca stuff? Because I'm lost, Tim. Just send me a basic message in the chat right now. I'm trying to, there you go. They're going to release the Nostalgia Critics movie in theaters and call it episode 9. No one will notice. Oh my God. You talk about a YouTuber or a content creator that I used to watch all the time, religiously. Every Wednesday, I'd wake up at college and watch the Nostalgia Critics newest video. I lost interest. That dude, I watch a lot of people, and I also watch Why They Fell and, make sure I don't, because I have no interest. Oh, how I could do the Holdo writing. Okay, there we go, Tim. Let me go back to your super chat now. The funny thing is, though, the time I spent in LA, I didn't really talk to too many people from LA. It's like no one I met was from Los Angeles. Jesse's from the East Coast. Her friend is not from Los Angeles. Her other friend's from the East Coast as well. It's like all these people are from different parts of the country. Everyone goes out there. Honestly, they're all trying to be actors. And the one guy friend is like a huge chemist, smart guy, very nice. We spent time in the desert, cool guy. But it's weird about the mentality they all have, I guess, in LA. Because the people I met just weren't about that kind of stuff. It's funny. People are one way on social media and one way in person. So it could be the case. I'll tell you this, because, we had 1,000. We have 1,000 watching, folks. Let's hit that thumbs up. I'm not going to say 1,000 thumbs up. We'll get you another Good Morning Pop Culture tomorrow, but it could get us another one next week. So I'm just saying, by the end of this stream, if there's 1,000 thumbs up, we could possibly have one next Wednesday. Possibly. Just saying. But no, Tim, we'll find out. I will say this, though, folks. If you're worried about me going out there and changing, I'm not. What's not going to change also is our schedule. So, the podcast, same time. High Council, same time. All the videos, same days, same times. Probably just pump out more content because I'm going to be able to do some on-camera stuff with a better setup out there, maybe go to locations and film stuff, make the channel better. So, I won't change what makes the channel the channel. No one ever has to worry about that, because I'm like you guys. I don't like when they change stuff about something I love. If they, like a TV show, X-Men, they changed the theme song. There's no purpose. The theme song was literally perfect. Wouldn't change a single note, but they did, and I don't like that. So that's just something for next year. You'll just literally see more of me. And I'll try to do more fan meetups. I have a lot of the dedicated fans happen to live, some of them surprisingly close to where I'm going to be moving to. So we'll hang out. We'll do shit together. I'd like to get to know everybody. My goal is to just be more fan inclusive in 2020. I know Jeremy will do his stuff around the country and try to hang out with some other YouTubers. Being with Jessie, we're going to do, it's nice because she gets like a stipend for travel, and she's giving me half of that to travel. So we're going to be all over the country, and I'm going to try to meet fans, have a little meetup, maybe like a hotel bar or whatever, come out, meet us, shoot the shit, anything you guys want to talk about for a couple hours. So that's that. Mikey Gussler says, did you hear about comic book articles, CBR's article about the Rise of Skywalker prequel book or comic that proves Rey is a better Jedi than Anakin and Luke Skywalker? I did hear that, and I think it's stupid. I can tell you 20 reasons why. Maybe I'll make a video about it. But I have watched every filmic appearance of Luke Skywalker, every film appearance of Rey, and every film appearance of Anakin Skywalker. And I've been watching and reading and consuming Star Wars since 1996, most of my life in general. And there's nothing that Rey has done that makes her better in any regard as a character, a written character. I get people who are like, she's so great in the Force. She knows everything right away. It's like, that doesn't make her good. That makes her John Cena. I fucking hate John Cena. Like, if you're a wrestling fan and you watch John Cena come out and they chant John Cena sucks to his theme song, I literally got that chant started. And people are like, how did you get that chant started? It's been going on for years. There's a video of me floating around on YouTube. It's only got 40 views. It's not from my channel. Of me doing it at B-dubs. I used to do that every month. And then I go to wrestling all over the country. And I would try to get it started. And my friends would go and we'd try. And it never worked until WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans, when we sat next to all these drunk British dudes. And we were loud. And it caught on. And it stuck around to this day. But I'm not a fan of those types of characters. It's 2019. You haven't been able to create those types of, we'll call them white meat baby faces, is what they're called in wrestling. You can't make those types of characters anymore. We live in a world where your action heroes should be conflicted or at least have something interesting about them. Everyone does, not just Star Wars. Dirty Harry has conflicted, is a little conflicted and interesting. James Bond. Basically, you want flawed heroes because we're all flawed people. We've done stupid shit. We've made mistakes. No one here is perfect. If you are, congratulations, your life is fucking boring. But Rey is perfect and she's boring. Oh, no, she scared it with the dark side. Don't you remember when she went into that pit? No, she didn't. She was worried about who she was. Oh, she touched Kylo Ren through the Force. That doesn't make her better than Luke. What is she? Adversity is what makes characters great. Luke got his hand cut off. He got his shit pushed in. He got beat up. He almost died multiple times. People say, oh, Luke's a whiny little bitch that doesn't do anything. Luke complains once in the first movie to Uncle Owen about wanting to go into Tashi Station to pick up some power converters. He tries to talk to him like a man at the dinner table about going to the academy this season before the harvest, and Uncle Owen shoots him down and he just gets pissed off and leaves. What character wouldn't? And then he does, then take it back. He complains twice because he complains to C-3PO about, oh, it's not fair. I'm never getting off this rock. So there we go. There's the Luke complaints. He goes in to find R2. He's missing. So then Luke worries about it. And then the next day, he's not bitching and whining. He has conflicting interests. Like, oh, I can't go to Alderaan. I got to stay here. That's your uncle talking, blah, blah, blah. And like to Han Solo, he doesn't bitch and whine to Han Solo. He tells him like, I'm a good pilot. I can do this. We're not going to pay you type of thing. So that argument about Luke Skywalker, it's two lines, two scenes. People need to get over it. He becomes a much more complex and interesting character over the course of that film, into the next one, and into the final one. He's a completely different man. That's how aging, maturity, all that works. Rey, there's nothing there for her. I can't, you could not tell me any different. Anakin has interesting character changes. He goes from innocent little boy to conflicted man to ultimately the villain, the greatest villain in cinematic history. Maybe Nurse Ratchet's just as good, but we'll talk about that another day. So I think the CBR article is bullshit. Anytime, to me, and it's nothing to do with women. It's to do with new characters. When you tell me that the new character is better than every other character and they've done nothing, like say Captain Marvel's the greatest Marvel hero. No, she's not. Okay? I wouldn't even say Iron Man's the greatest Marvel hero. Cinematically, arguably. Best acted, definitely. But, it's Spider-Man. And these characters are great because of their experiences. They're great because of the stories, the decades of quality content that has been produced. Captain Marvel, the Carol Danvers one, used to be Miss Marvel. And she was kind of just a B-plus character. Not even a B-plus. She was a C-list character at best for decades. And she was interesting on the New Avengers because she was powerful. She had military experience. So she was made to lead with that kind of stuff. But then they made her Captain Marvel. She became insufferable. She became representative of ideals and beliefs that is antithetical to comic book fans and geek culture and pop culture fans. And then you have the pushback from the media. So Rey, again, is made to represent antithetical Star Wars beliefs. And then all of a sudden, if you question her poor creation, they go the sexist route. And it all comes full circle again. When they do it with Lord of the Rings in a couple of years, we're going to hear it again. When you do it with whatever you do it with, it's just always going to go, like, just to go against the fans to promote some ideals. Nobody wins. Nobody wins. So, sorry, that was a long way to answer your super chat. But, yeah, I don't believe that CBR article at all. Franz Jasper says, "Hey, Jeff, give a shout out to the Fandom Menace all the way from Brazil." Well, hello all the way to Brazil. Never been to South America. Maybe one day. I guess I have to brush up my Portuguese. Can't speak Portuguese. Sounds like Porkins and Porgs had a baby. Anyway, thank you for your well wishes from Brazil. I start my world tour next year. We're going to Munich, so I will try to make my way to Brazil. That'd be really cool if we could make the Fandom Menace so big. It's like, hey, we're the Fandom Menace is going to appear here, and people just show up and hang out with us. That's the plan. But we can start here in America. But thank you, Franz. Peter Ford says, simple. 60s and 70s, folks learned how to write. 80s on, they didn't, and only try to dazzle or pander. I don't even know if I would say 80s on. I think a lot of the 80s greatness comes from the kids of the 50s and 60s, watching the Twilight Zones and, the Romero Night of the Living Dead and the deeper commentary and stuff. And, you had your pushback for certain policies in the country. You had all these things that, and people suffered more. It was a different mentality. There were no participation trophies. It was a different time. That's why you get the old school, the old blood, like a Scorsese producing a Joker with somebody like a Todd Phillips who worked at the very end of the meritocratic, that's a word, Hollywood. Yes, I understand Hollywood's always been a who you know, it's been a who you blow type of situation. But at the same time, there always is that quality filmmaker that will rise up and make that great thing. You could argue George Lucas is that man for the 70s. But when you get to the early 2000s, I'd say 90s as well, late 90s, you get the dazzle or the pander. Now, it's funny how you could make a film like a Boys Don't Cry or a Brokeback Mountain back in the day. I actually haven't seen Brokeback Mountain. But my point I'm trying to make, though, is you can make something like that. It stands on the storytelling, and it wins an Oscar based on the storytelling and the quality of what was made. Nowadays, the internet would lose their shit because of a film about two gay cowboys. And they go, and they're hot, and they're this, and they're that. And that's representative of how stupid society has become. There's that running joke, Idiocracy is not a film, it's a documentary. Yeah, it's getting like that. I wouldn't be surprised if one day we did see a movie called Ass and it swept the Oscars, because most of the films at the Oscars are dumb and stupid. Sometimes the most inoffensive movie is the most refreshing. Like I went to see The Addams Family with my mom. It's funny, we talk about full circle stuff. I talked about, the car crash. So the car crash is how Good Morning Pop Culture has been. Well, the first film I ever saw in theaters was The Addams Family. My mom took me to see it way back in the day. And the other day, I decided on Tuesday I would take her to go see this new Addams Family movie to bring things full circle. It's probably the last film we're going to see in theaters for a little bit as I'm moving. And I just went in on and watched the film, and it was fine. It wasn't trying to promote an agenda. Yes, it was a family movie, but believe me, they consider Star Wars a family movie. They consider Avengers a family movie. But for what this was, it was pretty good, fun. As an adult, on a scale of 1 to 10, I guess like a 6. It was just a fine movie. But if I'm looking through that kid's lens, I could see kids really liking it. And it had some nice horror callbacks. And the funny thing, too, is I thought they were so ugly, not poorly rendered, but ugly. And then I went back and was reading some of the old Charles Addams New Yorker strips, and they looked dead on. I was like, where's Wednesday's chin? Well, in the comic strip, she didn't have a chin, so it was accurate. But my point I'm trying to make about that is it's free of 2019 politics. And if you get the next person, it could be me, who knows, but the next person that gets a good story that's well made and free of that, it's a universal theme. It doesn't have to be, a fantasy story or whatever, but you can have a big universal theme that everyone picks up on. You have the next big hit. So I challenge Hollywood creators to remove said head out of one's ass and not pander. No more pandering. Make something awesome. You want money. I look at this. They're mutually excusable. You can't really pander and make the huge bucks. You can pander whenever the internet prays, and you can maybe reach the Ghostbusters 2016 glass ceiling, but you can't break through it. And yeah, I chose glass ceiling intentionally. You can get there, but you can't break out. And it's nothing to do with the women or the talent behind the scenes, minus Paul Feig, because that guy sucks. What it is you turn people off. Like, humor is great, but there's that groany type of humor, like the modern SNL humor. I'd argue the last time SNL was great was like the 90s for sure. I was going to say early, but there were some mid to late 90s jokes that were really great as well. But like when SNL was slightly dark, when you had your Sandler, Farley, Spade, Chris Rock, crew, yes, the talent was A+, A-list caliber, but the writing was great as well. And it wasn't, it's always had like a political slant since the beginning. I'm not saying that it's not at all, but it's well done and well made and not solely focused on that. It can be funny for the sake of being funny. Stratos Radio Blues, thank you very much. Yo, Jeff, wanted to know if you have seen any of the Kawajiri horror movies, Vampire Hunter D, Wicked City, and Demon City Shinjuku. Also, happy Halloween. Well, thank you very much, Stratos. I have not. I've actually heard of Vampire Hunter D. I could recognize that. Let me take a screenshot of your super chat because I want to check those out. I will see if any of those are available on Crunchyroll or Hulu today because I have access to those. Another thing, I pay for a streaming service called VRV. I watched one show on it, and it's called Daddy in the Big Way. It's like 30 minutes long, and I haven't watched it in months, the streaming service. I think I should just get rid of it. But then I'll feel like, I got rid of it too early. I can't watch Lupin the Third. So, yeah, I will check that out for sure. And thank you. Charles Kilmushian says, have Martin and Game of Thrones harmed fiction, i.e. Martin wannabes, Jay Ryan, attempting to subvert expectations, which fall flat and are just disappointing. Now, remember, folks, I'm not a Game of Thrones expert or even an enthusiast. I respected it because here's the thing. When I was younger, I was like, everybody likes this. It's stupid. I'm just going to be a contrarian about certain things. And so I wouldn't get involved or interested in a lot of things. And they were because they weren't for me. So instead of being an insufferable douche, which I actually never was, well, of course I'm not going to admit it. No, but the reason I stopped being so whatever is because it's like, I let people enjoy it. I don't have to like it. I have my own interests, my own values and beliefs, and what I want to watch. So I never got into it. I don't know Game of Thrones at all. It's not for me. But I think that the idea behind the way Benioff and Weiss did stuff could ruin a lot of entertainment because they could have sabotaged Star Wars to get Game of Thrones for Star Wars, and then they got off Star Wars, and it makes, like I said on Mindless Bullshit, it makes them more of mercenaries than they are creators. And I understand Hollywood is a business. I argue how it's a business all the time, but it's the business of creativity, and you gotta win people over and make them want to be involved with it so much. So I liken this to the video game crash that I talked about video games for a brief moment earlier. You had everybody and their mother coming out releasing games. Like I said, you even had, was it Alpo Foods released a game for Gravy Train. Who the fuck wants to play that? Nobody. But the point is, there was no limit on who. It was the Wild West of the games. Who's going to make this? There's that Custer's Revenge game. There's all these terrible things out there that are garbage. And so we're in this era where if we just keep producing garbage, people are going to go elsewhere. There's so many different platforms, so many different venues for entertainment. And one would argue that if you burn enough people at the cinema, they're going to just turn to something else. They'll go to games. Sometimes games burn you. See, you have you don't really have a film equivalent of it, but like Nintendo, their games, they're like first party games. They come out, they're not broken, and they're fun. They may not be the most technical in terms of, Witcher graphics. They don't look like a CD Projekt Red game. They don't look as good as GTA or play like Call of Duty, and their machines are underpowered. Now, I would argue Nintendo should make a super-powered machine that has all the innovation and quality of a Nintendo system and the great games with the third party of Call of Duty and all the PlayStation stuff and all the Xbox. They're not exclusives, but, the third-party stuff. I would like that. But my point is, when I put down money on Smash Brothers or Mario Kart, I know I'm getting a quality game that's complete. There's no studio that I can get that from. I can say, oh, Warner Brothers had Joker. That was fantastic. I'm really excited for Warner Brothers. They had Suicide Squad 3 years ago. Disney, I can't guarantee that. Oh, I loved the Avengers movies, all of them, all the Marvel stuff. But they also have Star Wars. They also have soulless CGI remakes, dumb remakes like Dumbo. So, I mean, there's nothing there. There's no safety. So, yes, Charles, there's a point where you could have these wannabes ruin it because they're artistes. It's funny. There was a guy named, I think it's Peter Bogdanovich was a director back in the day, and he came out swinging, and he was doing all this great stuff. I think he was Last Picture Show. And then he just kind of lost his touch. There's another guy named Michael Cimino who comes out. I think he's a better example because Peter Bogdanovich has done other stuff, and he's acted. He was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He played the director that Leonardo DiCaprio talked to in the very beginning, the one that came down on the lifting chair. That was him. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, my point is this Michael Cimino guy came out and he did something, and then he did Deer Hunter, which won an Oscar and was all this stuff. And then he bought into his own hype, and he did, it's this movie about horses, and it was crap. And it basically killed United Artists and his career in the process. It was a huge flop. I think Jeff Bridges was in it. And you had, with Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson did his Looper movie and the stuff before that, and I thought Looper was fine. I don't love it. But then we have, The Last Jedi, and that's him buying into his own hype, being given a blank slate, tabula rasa, to do what he wants, and what he wants to do is subvert your expectations and ruin shit for you. Heaven's Gate, thank you, Apocrypha, as well as Joe S. Oh, and Sean. Sean was the first person. So... yeah, John, Robert or Bogdanovich did hang out with Orson Welles. There's a great documentary you guys should check out on Netflix about that. Just type in, I think it's called I Am Orson Welles or something. I watched it. I was surprisingly interested the entire 2.5, 3 hours. Let's see. So yeah, there's a lot of people that know Heaven's Gate. It's just notoriously terrible. If more people knew Heaven's Gate, I'd be like, The Last Jedi is the Heaven's Gate of Star Wars, but who's going to get that? So that's why you would say and you have to be careful too. You can't say it's the Titanic or something because people might say Titanic made billions of dollars or $1 billion. It was a huge hit, blah, 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 blah. So you got to pick your words carefully. But Charles, thank you very much. Mazamonti says, I was made to go to Star Wars by a youngling because I was 15 wait. I was made to go to Star Wars by a youngling because I was 15 bang right in the middle of a story. Luke Biggs was wrong. You did get... Sorry. Luke Biggs was wrong. You did get out, slain in cold blood by Darth Dis and his knights of, like what you say, knee. Let me reread that because I messed that up. It says, I was made to go to Star Wars by a youngling because I was 15, bang right in the middle of a story. Luke Biggs was wrong. You did get out, slain in cold blood by Darth Dis and his knights who like to say knee. I'm still a little confused by that, Mazamonti. I'm sorry. But I guess, are you talking from the point of Kylo Ren? Because his Knights of Ren are never going to be mentioned. They were, in the flashback, people bought into that. And Star Wars is guilty of cool-looking characters with little substance. I love Boba Fett, but that is Boba Fett. And there's nothing wrong with some cool-ass characters. Maybe Disney Star Wars could have benefited from that. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, Mara Jade was liked even more than Han Solo in Star Wars fandom. And if they did her the same way as Rey, everyone would be hating her too. They had strong female characters, and they threw her away with the rest of the novels. I would definitely argue that Mara Jade was liked more than Han Solo, because the weird thing about the Star Wars fandom is you have the people that like the movies, and you have the people that like all of it, or at least know all of it. Everybody knows Harrison Ford and Han Solo. So I wouldn't say Mara Jade was more liked, but I will agree 100% that if you treated her like Rey, you would turn off a portion of the audience. Strong female characters don't equal perfect Mary Sues. It just does a disservice, because it really hurts the cause of, if you're a filmmaker and you want to say, hey, the women can do it too, the ladies have the same power, show it. Don't constantly tell us and then show us a weak, ineffectual character where the story stops to make them look good. It's like, was it in King of the Hill, where Bobby is running for the car and he's like, slow down. He goes, even slower, just stop. That sort of thing. That's what Rey is. That's what happens when you alter these characters. It's everyone, the plot is running along and the characters are supposed to keep up with it, but they don't. I don't like that they got rid of the expanded universe stuff. It would have been cool to see. It wasn't for me in terms of the figures, but I remember how hard to find and how valuable those Star Wars comic packs are. People would buy those like crazy to get those EU figures. Again, I'm one of the people, my rule of thumb used to be, if they're in the movie only and they have to have their name said. So no side characters. But as I get a little older, sometimes the side characters are just too cool to pass up. Like, to be fair, all the bounty hunters on Darth Vader's ship, the Executor in Empire, they don't even name Boba Fett in that movie. He calls him Bounty Hunter. They call him the Bounty Hunter the entire movie. Then it's not until Return of the Jedi where they call him Boba Fett. Boba Fett where? And that's it. But for everybody is better in that regard. And like I said, I'm slowly picking up EU books. That's something, if you want to send to the P.O. box, you could send EU books, because I'll eventually get to read those. And maybe one day I'll read all the ones with Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Luke Skywalker. That wouldn't hurt. But Mr. Tickle Trunk, thank you very much. Swinging Cod says Knights of Ren equals mystery box. Yep. And you know what happens with the mystery box? We burn that motherfucker to the ground. I wish Mother was a mystery box, Swinging Cod. I never knew it was in that movie. I just knew that Jennifer Lawrence was, and that was it. But I had to watch it. Ian Slater, thank you very much. I have 2 questions for vids I am doing. One was Kathleen Kennedy, A diversity hire, and 2 is Rey and Kylo related through Palpatine. Need proof to back up vid. Kathleen Kennedy was not a diversity hire. I think did she joke about Title IX or something? You might want to look that part up. But she's been around Lucasfilm and Spielberg and all those guys forever. Since like 1980, maybe early 80s. I feel like she's mentioned as an assistant on Raiders of the Lost Ark. I could be wrong. But yeah, maybe there's even like a credit that says thanks Kathy or something. I don't know. But she's been around since then. But she's like an executive producer. She's the go-between, and that's fine. I've never tried to take away anyone's job. I'm not the kind of guy I'm not a Karen. I don't go say, I need to talk to your manager. You need to be fired type of bullshit. That's stupid. But with her, it's like, you're not qualified for this aspect. You were good at what you did before, not now. No, Rey and Kylo are not related through Palpatine. Kylo is the son of Han Solo and Princess Leia, and Rey is a nobody so far. If we find out she's related, that's going to be dumb. It's like Halloween. I'm watching it right now. It's the scene where Michael Myers is busting in the closet at the end of the film. Halloween was better when Michael Myers was just a deranged killer going after Laurie Strode, not his sister that he's trying to kill. But the connection of family this and family that in Star Wars, it's not always been there. Like, that's why I don't buy into it. You know, the first two movies, Luke and Leia weren't brother and sister. That's not the story of Star Wars. It was meant to be a love triangle. Every piece of merchandise back then, you know, the first poster, a boy, a girl, and a universe. It was even marketed that way in the first trailer. Like, when people try to tell me, oh, it was always there. No, it fucking wasn't. No, it wasn't. You know, that was meant to be the hero and the girl, and then they switched it up. That's how you subvert your expectations. You know, Luke goes with the way of the Force, Han gets the way of the Leia, and it worked out like that. So there you go. Ian Slater, good luck on the video. Tag us on Twitter, man. I'll definitely check it out. Well, I guess since Palpatine created Anakin, but yeah, that's that. We don't know about Rey, so we'll find out. B-Dad says, the sister thing makes Halloween more interesting. Well, to be fair, they say it number 2, and then by Halloween 3, there is no Michael Myers or Laurie Strode, and then it always becomes about coming after that family. The first 2 Halloweens would work great if it wasn't his sister. It's just more of him going after her. It's like, I look at it like this. Michael Myers was looking for somebody to kill. Laurie was the person that showed up at the Myers house to drop off the key. Wrong place, wrong time. He follows her around. Then her friends, the speed kills jerk line and all that stuff. Like, he was already obsessed with her. Then you get to him going after the friends. And he got all the friends. And Bob. Poor Bob. And Lester the dog. He killed Lester as well. But then you go after Laurie, and Loomis stops Michael Myers and saves the day. I always looked at it, it's just him trying to get the one that got away from that movie type of thing. So even if you took out the sister connection, it would be great. Monsters, dinosaurs, and things like that. Jeff, check out my Star Wars fan film. I spent 10 grand on it. Well, let me take a screenshot of your screen name. I will gladly watch your Star Wars fan film. 10 grand. A lot of money. But I'll gladly check it out. Yeah, Han Solo was supposed to die. That's true, he was supposed to die. I don't know how I'd feel about that. Probably conflicted. I enjoy that he's alive. Vinsmoke, yeah, in regards to the Star Wars toy marketing. So the Star Wars toy is interesting because obviously it revolutionized the 3 3/4 inch scale, but it couldn't meet demand. It couldn't meet production by Christmas 1977. As you guys know, the infamous early bird certificate. So for those that don't know, they sold an empty box and said, we'll send you 4 action figures within a time window. And they did, and then they went on to be the biggest toy line of all time. Well, maybe not, actually. Maybe Transformers made more? I don't really know. Or G.I. Joe? I guess not, because Star Wars never stopped. Transformers and G.I. Joe did for a little. Well, no, Star Wars did stop, actually, really quickly, if we think about it. Because of G.I. Joe and Transformers and He-Man. But that's a story for another day. What was the thing that popped up on the feed? Walter, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Where did the thing about the toy go? Shit. Oh, the Gary Kurtz comment. Yeah, Gary Kurtz definitely did see that. Star Wars toys were selling no matter what. So for anyone, not you guys, so don't take it like that. But for those to say that, when Gary Kurtz left, that's when Star Wars could become marketable. Those figures were moving like crazy when Gary Kurtz was involved. The Empire toy line is probably the best of the vintage toy line. I'd argue the first series is the most pure. Maybe the figures aren't perfect. I'm looking at a Han and Chewie right now, and they get better by the time the second one rolls around. But at least you have, and you have the Death Star. But you also in that original run had an X-Wing, a TIE Fighter, Millennium Falcon, and the Land Speeder. But then you get the Walkers, both AT-AT and AT-ST. You get Darth Vader's Star Destroyer. You get all the Hoth play sets. You get the Snow Speeder. You get Dagobah, all that stuff. That really was like the height. And then once you get to Return of the Jedi, it's like Ewoks, Jabba the Hutt, and a couple aliens. And I just was never one of the kids that wanted the aliens. I wanted the main characters and the most realistic stuff I could get. So, yeah, that was me. I was one of those weird kids. I actually, as an adult, I'm still like that too, where I'm always chasing after the best version of something. So it's like, oh, you have a Han Solo figure? Awesome. Well, guess what? We made another one with a better face with similar body type. It's the same costume. I'm going to buy it because I'm always looking for the best version. So good morning to Mr. Hunter Gaming. Good morning to everyone. Folks, we have 1,070 people watching. Good Morning Pop Culture is back for today. So hit that thumbs up button if you like it. I had a 90s version of the AT-AT Walker, which was the exact same mold. The only difference was the stickers as well as there were electronics, more electronics. So in the original one, I think it just made it had a sound effect and light up feature for the face mounted guns. But in the 90s version, there was a little panel that had 3 buttons and it would have like a hologram light up. And it was the Darth Vader line, something else, and something else. Target maximum firepower. So that was a lot of fun to have. Yes, folks, listen to Alex Zen. Thumbs up, everyone. Thank you, Will Querum. I will have a great morning show. It's a lot of fun. And I believe you're the guy that we're going to go lift weights in LA. So keep talking. Jay Sway, yes, it is a good day. You notice that the bombers in The Last Jedi looked like medical ships in the original Star Wars, but cut in half. You mean the frigates from Empire and Jedi? I know that they look similar. Somebody would argue, well, it was produced by the same company, Incom, blah, 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 blah. And yes, I know they made the X-Wing, so I'm not saying that. But I've noticed a lot of similar designs. Why aren't they fucking Y-Wings? That's all I can say. Yeah, so Drake Thornix had the re-release of the AT-AT Walker. It was a lot of fun. That was my Christmas 1997 gift. Christmas 97 was my last. It's funny, for as much as I talk about and love Star Wars and all the toys and stuff, I only had 2 Star Wars Christmases. 96 with the Falcon was the big gift and all the other ships, and then 97. And I continued to get Star Wars stuff. Like when I had a first Holy Communion, I got money. So I was 8 going on 9, and I had like $250 to do whatever I wanted. And what did I do? My mom took me. My communion was on Saturday. On Sunday, we went to Toys R Us, and I bought nothing but Star Wars stuff. The video game for Super Nintendo, all the toys I wanted. It was a good day. And I stuck with it through 98, but I really got into Small Soldiers for a minute. And then by the end of 98, I was Nintendo 64. That's all I wanted was video games. And then I really got heavily back into James Bond right after I got that game. I'd already watched the movies for years, loved them. But then Star Wars just kind of, the closer we got to episode 1, I saw it, and it took a little backseat to me. So there you go. AJ Journeyman, I mean, you don't need to not go look at them on eBay. Maybe you want an AT-AT Walker. That's all I can say. Yeah, I did go to Michigan State University. It was fun. It's where I met Dion, and we had legendary times. Legendary. Dean Hopesoffel says, if you have a free moment during Thanksgiving, man, I live right outside of Philly near EVS. Would love to grab a beer or cheesesteak with you. Well, Dean, you know how to contact us. worldclassbs@mail.com. And you just ask Kendo to forward the email directly to me because Kendo runs our email. And that'll give you my information, and we'll try to work something out. I can't promise anything, but I will definitely try, because going to Philly is going to see Jesse's family and stuff. She's like, I want to take you here and there and all that stuff. And so, yes, But once I'm there, we'll see what the schedule's like. I know the first day we're there, we have a Friendsgiving planned, and then I don't know. She's just excited to show me off. It's weird. Actually, it's nice. It's funny too. She goes to visit her friends, and all she does is talk about me. And they're like, "We're sick about hearing about this guy. We get it. You love him. Blah 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 blah." So whatever. But Dean, definitely. It'd be fun to shoot the shit and grab beer with you, and just talk about this kind of stuff. You're here all the time. I know your name, and there would be no shortage of topics. I want to get another big Fandom Menace meetup like we had in Chicago. One a year would be great. Because it's funny. The media would like to say, oh, you guys are dead in the water. It's like we've actually all grown this year ridiculously. So we just want to, keep embracing the fans. We're becoming more of like a fan operated, culture. The Fixer, thank you very much. He says, insomnia sucks. But this was the first time I actually got a decent night of sleep. And I wake up to this. God must be telling me something. Well, Fixer, I'm glad you had a good night of sleep. I went to bed at 10:15 last night, which is the earliest I've been to bed in months. And it always sets me off on a good day to be well rested. And hopefully you do have a good day today. It's Halloween. I got Halloween 2 running in the background now. We've made it through the first film. Sadly, I destroyed my copy of the third, so there's no more Halloween to watch today. I ain't going to watch Halloween 4. Sorry, Logan Michael. But yeah, the Fixer, it's going to be a great day, and hopefully you're back tonight for the podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to wear my Axel Foley costume on air. I got the jacket hanging up over the door. I got to look for my Mumford shirt. I think I know where it is. And yeah, we'll have a Beverly Hills Cop-themed holiday. Laura has never had a Star Wars toy. Well, Laura, there are lots of great ones out there. There are a lot of terrible ones out there. But if you want one, they're out there for you. And the nicest part, folks, some of the best ones, if you buy them, you don't have to give your money to Disney. Remember, buying secondhand, if you buy, vintage collection stuff from like 2010, like that badass AT-AT Walker or the 2008 Millennium Falcon, those were never owned by Disney. So you don't have to support them. Don't forget a banana. You're not going to fall for the banana that tailpipe. God, a great movie. Such a great movie. Trip Fontaine, I have seen that documentary from Mark Hamill. Big fan. I love the making of Star Wars. It's funny. If you were to sit down with me and ask me 1,000,001 EU questions, I'd know some. Now, if you ask me production questions on the films, who Gil Taylor is, all these things, that is my wheelhouse. That's the shit about Star Wars that interests me the most. The production, especially that first film, how it was, not necessarily the little film that could, but it was like no one believed in it. And that grand vision that Lucas had really came together perfectly. Actually, even better than he intended, because his drafts, his edits weren't that great. I mean, obviously, film is a collaborative thing. It's his ex-wife and a lot of the people behind the scenes that saved it and made it what it was. Yes, you had to have that great story there, but you also had to have all the people make it work. Because you could have the same story, but if it's in a shit package and not well done, well, you got a flop on your hands. Whew, Joe, you got that for $35? This is the best deal ever. That was $150 or $125 when it came out. Oh, if you had one of those in the box, you could get $500 for it, dude. That's all I'm saying. Skywalking, I did see Beverly Hills Cop is coming out with a Blu-ray and a 4K remaster. I will be buying every piece of Beverly Hills Cop merchandise possible. All of them. Our friend Cesario Japan has sent me Japanese laser discs. Those are my favorite piece of Beverly Hills Cop collectible media format. I have something from Paramount that I bought once. That might be my favorite. Or the old cardboard cutouts. When I get a house, I think I'm going to get a full-size Axel Foley VHS display to put in my basement. It's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, I have the Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack. I have so many of them. Let's see. I got it on original 1985, technically, is when it came out. Vinyl pressing. I got a re-release. I got the CD soundtrack. I got the expanded soundtrack. I have like too many Beverly Hills Cop soundtracks. That's all I can say. Oh, more grog. I'm sorry, not sorry that you have Axel F stuck in your head. If you want to be like me, go type in the unreleased. Well, it's not unreleased now, but the score has little bits of Axel F through like every couple of moments. So if you say, "Hey, think of a part from Beverly Hills Cop and people go Axel F, I usually think of like specific ones. Jonathan Hurst, since he will miss me, but I'll be back all the time. So that's your excuse to come to Horror Hound, because I'm coming back for Horror Hound. We're going to do that convention. I'll still be at the one out in Indianapolis. Like, from a channel standpoint, you guys will never know where I am, like that I left. Like, I could have never announced it. And that would have been fine. Yeah, that was my original plan with Jessie. Is like, oh, I'm not going to announce anything, because she was really enjoying the idea of, oh, let's tease people and make them think we're together, but, you know, never tell them the truth. And so that was our original plan. But she kidnapped me and took me to California, and she calls Jeremy on the phone, or In-N-Out Burger. And she's like, I better call Jeremy. So she like video calls him and is like, hey, what's up? Blah, 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 blah. And then turns the camera on me and tells him the whole story. So Cincinnati will miss me, but I will be back all the time. You think I'm going to leave my mom? Hell no. Just go, you know, call her, see her, you know, leave her a little bit of money from the second printing of the comic book, that sort of thing. I'm trying to get the house set up a little better for her. Yes, Princess Rainbow. Sorry, Princess. Yes, I did know there was a Beverly Hills Cop game that was terrible. Didn't buy it, but I'm well aware of it. If I can find a mint, like brand new copy, I would buy it just to put it on my shelf. Never going to open it or play with it. Have no desire to, but I would like to own it one day. It's British, I believe. The Fixer, thank you very much again for your super chat. He says, something I notice with entertainment in general these days, they either follow the Disney formula where you know almost exactly what's going to happen by the end, and that's a part 1 of 2. So I'm going to wait a second. I'm going to take a sip of coffee. You know what? I'm going to read Ian Slater's, and then we'll go back. Oh, nope. Here we go. Or it follows the James Bond Skyfall model, where it's a Pyrrhic victory at best, for more of a black versus gray morality. I miss the days of good versus bad. Excellent point, bringing up the Skyfall reference. So yeah, you do. I mean, I can jokingly say, well, they follow the Disney model because society's dumber than ever, and maybe social media has created that window into more of people's lives. You know, you look at some of the dumbest shit on social media, and you're like, those people exist. You know, sometimes it's better not to know how dumb society is compared to how dumb they truly are. But then you do have the gray area. I think people think making black versus gray is more compelling. It works, but not all the time. I too would like a good versus evil story. You know, to me, the gray versus black would be X-Men. Straight up. You know, the X-Men are the very grayest of superheroes. Yes, they're fighting for this great mutant cause, but they do some dirty shit. You know, they raid government facilities, they attack government soldiers and stuff like that. Not saying, you know, what their ends, you know, aren't noble, but that's more of that kind of story, and it works for the X-Men, not necessarily the you know, Avengers. Yeah, and every once in a while you can write one of those Avengers gray area stories, and that's fun. But until then, whatever. But yeah, the biggest things are always good versus evil. You know, Superman is not a gray area character. Superman is good, black versus white type of thing. You don't need anything different from that character. Trying to think who else is a good example of good versus evil. I hate to bring up like the Power Rangers. Sometimes you just need that kind of story. Not every story needs to be that. Batman is more of a gray character. That's why he's interesting. He does the right thing, but sometimes the wrong way, sometimes the right way. Sometimes Batman is the most pure form of justice out there. Sometimes he's not. And that is open to your interpretation, and that's why that character works. But I would say Spider-Man is more of a less of a gray area character than other superheroes. So I like good versus evil. I don't need, you know, I think why Spider-Man works is because he is inherently good and does the right thing all the time, but we see what sacrifices he makes to be that good hero. I enjoy that. Wolverine is a gray area character. Captain America is not. Captain America is a good, just hero. Iron Man is a gray area character, and that's what's interesting, and that's why I firmly stand by he is the villain of the whole Civil War battle. Like, I stand with Captain America's side every viewing, and I always have. Maybe that represents who I am as a person, but you never know. You can read into it. If you want to figure out more about me and send me an email and say, hey, based on your views of Captain America and Civil War and his motivations, this is what I think type of person you are. And, we'll have a discussion. Hell, maybe help me out. Ian Slater, thank you very much. He says, I want Darth Jar Jar in episode 9 at this point. Why not? Why not is right. What else could go wrong? And people say, Jeff, don't say that. Seriously, what else could go wrong? Luke dead, Han dead, Leia dead in real life. Sadly, rest in peace, Carrie Fisher. We shared a birthday. Love you. I don't care if Chewbacca dies or the Falcon blows up or Lando dies. They already ruined Lando. Chewbacca, they didn't really ruin Chewbacca. They just relegated him to like the background. What is there for me to care about anymore? Like, you could put a fucking toilet droid in the movie and I'm not going to care. I'm just not going to be like, oh, they're ruining Star Wars. It's been ruined. It's been ruined. So why not Darth Jar Jar? Why not anything? Well, the Emperor is back. We watched him blow up into a tiny billion little pieces, but he's back for the story's sake. Thank you. Liquor Jim says, stealing Solo, a Captain parody. Hype? Well, you should be hyped, dude. It's done completely. Just a couple of things about mailing out and that kind of stuff. Administrative stuff behind the scenes. But it did take a little longer, but I am beyond happy. Like, when I got the cover back, like, finalized, I have never been so excited to see something I drew. I showed everyone. I sent pictures. I was like, my mom came home from work. I'm like, Mom, look at this comic book cover. It's done. It's done. I showed pictures to Jesse. I showed pictures to all the guys. Like, it makes me very, very happy. I'm very proud of it. So yes, the hype is real. When I do the second printing soon, there's just one thing I'm waiting on to launch it. And trust me, it'll be more exciting than the first one. You guys will definitely like it more. It's just that I have to get one little specific thing, and then it's it. And yeah, it'll happen obviously a lot quicker because the book's done. And as soon as the campaign ends, it goes directly to print. And, it'll be fun. So Liquor Jim, thank you very much for everything you send us, for everything you do. And yes, I'm excited for the hype. Let's see. Honestly, just a hollow normie garbage half-baked movie. If that's not bad enough, Avengers 2 was a giant dump. So Scott, I don't know if I missed one of your earlier messages, but if you're talking about Avengers let's see. I don't like Age of Ultron. I think that movie kind of sucks. That's my least favorite Avengers movie. AJ Journeyman says, let's take this one step further. Joker dance plus Batusi plus HBK theme equals more bang for your buck than Rise of Skywalker. Credit to World Class Bullshitters for the inspiration. Oh, AJ Journeyman, I would love to see that video. And you know what? It'll be fun for all. That's what entertainment is meant to be. Fun for all. So instead of trying to make you take an introspective look at your life and make you feel bad about stuff, we'll make you laugh. We'll make you cry from laughter. And the Shawn Michaels theme is always a good time. I can't think of anything that would make anyone hate the Shawn Michaels theme, except the lyrics. And let's see. I don't mind the Emperor coming back. It makes sense because he's the villain in all the other movies. I would like something set up, not some puzzle box JJ garbage. I'm not okay because he was shown to die. This whole like force, all through the force, all things are possible type of thing. It's like it undoes Anakin Skywalker's ultimate sacrifice, Luke's journey to become a Jedi, and all these things at the service of Rey. I don't like Rey. Yeah, people know Shawn Michaels. I enjoyed the shit out of that movie. Again, I won't go into it, but it was fun. So, let's see what we got going on in the chat more this morning. Oh! But Jeff, no one has ever really gone. That's true, except the audience, 45%. So I would, for just a brief minute, we got a little bit left in the show. This has been going by way too quick. It's funny. For as much as I like mentally dread waking up at times, once I get in the right mood, Good Morning Pop Culture is the quickest 2 hours of my life. It just goes, boom, it's over. We're all having fun. We're having a good time. You're working and lurking. You're listening in the chat. We're all here together, and that's what I enjoy. Let me see where the thumbs up ratio is right now. Pull up my phone because, things have changed a little bit. Oh, there, I'm talking to myself. Ooh, only 622 thumbs up. So if you guys would like another one of these, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, and we will do another one next week. I'd like to do one. Just tell me that you'd like one. Action figure expert, I will say hi to my mom when I have to pick her up from work. As I said, folks, last night, she was a little car wreck. Things are fine. She's going to be good, but that is why we have Good Morning Pop Culture a little earlier. We're good to go. Oh my God, I can't sing the Michigan State fight song. It's just like On the Banks of the Red Cedar, and then I don't remember the rest. I was not a very, my school spirit wasn't super strong because they kind of dicked me over on money. So that's all I'm going to say. I remember the Midnight's Edge guy saying how the female characters in all Disney Star Wars movies is a projection of what she sees from herself. Oh, from Kathleen Kennedy? Definitely. You ever notice they're all thin, brunette women? They all have a look, and like people say, well, Princess Leia is this and that. It's like that was like the first thing. And then Padme's her mother. Why does Jyn Erso look like that? Why does Daisy Ridley look like that? Jesse joked about body diversity, but I'm like, if you were to poll your average dude, I don't think you want, the body of a small child to represent Star Wars. It's kind of just like whatever. It's like all Hollywood is like that. Guys and the women, they're all just real tiny people. I'm not saying they need to be The Rock for every scene, or they need to be a Sidney Greenstreet, large and in charge, but it's kind of dumb how they all, like, in Star Wars look the same. All these main female characters. It's like they're interchangeable down to the fucking British accent. So why not just make something different? It's really funny how The Rise of Skywalker, they first attempted to say, oh, Naomi Ackie's character is the first black woman in a Star Wars film. It's like, Solo a year ago had Thandie Newton. She was barely in it. She died. Spoiler, sorry. But she was there first. And you could argue the women that played the aliens, Oh, God, what's her name? Not Yarna. Yarna's the lady with the 6 boobs in Jabba's palace. But the green Twi'lek, she was played by a black lady. That's a cool story. She was in Return of the Jedi. She comes back almost 20 years. Well, not 20 years. It's 13 years when they filmed it again. And she was in just as good a shape. And they painted her green and filmed her scenes, and you'd never know the difference. So, yeah, Scott. Normies are proud of being dubbed. Ignorance is bliss. That's what it is. E846 was it? What is it? E4B6 ban. Thank you for your compliment. I appreciate that. Sorry, Alex, you're gonna watch Solo this weekend. Go watch. I'm trying to think. What's a better movie to watch? Anything? Well, not anything. Not The Last Jedi. Go back and watch, I don't know, Ewoks Caravan of Courage. Or Mr. Show. Ooh, Cotton Hill's here. He killed 50 men. We know Rey is going to kill Palpatine. That's so great, so powerful. It's like they can't have her kill Darth Vader because Darth Vader redeemed himself, but they can kill she can kill the evil that killed that. And you will have your people that buy into it and enjoy it and go like, oh, it's so great. I love it. That Rey is so powerful. And then you'll have people go, what the fuck? And then eventually people will look back on these movies as hollow pieces of shit. And they've always been. I do watch the Orville. You can't find Rose Tico merch because they threw it out and they buried it out of embarrassment. Oh God, Captain Liberator, you're drinking already? It's a little early for me. It's 9:38 and I'm drinking a coffee. I don't think I could. I mean, I could day drink. No, I couldn't. I got to pick up my mom from work later. So that ain't happening. Let's see. The Fixer sent in another super chat. Thank you, Fixer. Unrelated, what is your favorite Bond film? Mine's Skyfall in contrast to my earlier super chat. Skyfall is an excellent choice. That is, I have trouble with deciding if I like Skyfall or Spectre better. People go, well, Spectre's not as great of a film. I agree, but it has some James Bond callbacks and some AK fun that I really enjoy. Skyfall, if you would have included a traditional Bond, the gun barrel, I hate to say it. If you would have included a gun barrel, Skyfall would be my favorite. I know it's stupid, but there's just something about the gun barrel, the James Bond Returns, all that. Skyfall had a fantastic theme song, one of the best credit sequences in the entire franchise. It was well paced. I loved the scenes in Hong Kong. I mean, when he runs up and grabs onto that elevator and then fights that sniper, that is just a fantastic scene. And it was so refreshing going into that film after the disappointment that was Quantum of Solace 4 years earlier, and kind of feeling like James Bond had been past his expiration date. When we had Skyfall come out, I bought into it. I bought all the shit. I have lots of Skyfall-related stuff. Loved it. Then we got into Spectre, and I enjoyed it. Hopefully, No Time to Die is a continuation of that instead of going back to the Casino Royale, which I enjoyed, or Quantum of Solace era, the reliance on realism and no fun. Because Bond has always been sarcastic and funny, semi-realistic. You know, people go, oh, Dalton's the unappreciated Bond. Look, Dalton's a great Bond. License to Kill is not that great of a film. Living Daylights is. I would argue if you put Timothy Dalton's Bond in a more worldly setting the way they did in The Living Daylights, you would get the perfect blend. That's why The Living Daylights is in my top 5, because of just the way everything works in that movie. But License to Kill, it's too little too late. You want Bond to fight criminal drug dealers from Mexico about importing cocaine? Well, you should have done that shit 6 years prior. Just saying. Post Scarface. Dean Hopsaffle says GoldenEye is my all-time favorite. Well, I read your super chat, Dean, because GoldenEye is my favorite as well. GoldenEye is not the first Bond movie I've seen. A lot of people make the argument that I like Pierce Brosnan. People say, well, you only like him because he was the first Bond you saw. Incorrect. I saw Sean Connery first. I saw Goldfinger very young. I remember being at a family member's house when TNT would show Bonds, and I saw Goldfinger, and I vividly remember they had the old big screen TVs with the projection thing, and it looked kind of crappy, but I remember the part where he cuts off the statue's head and hits the hand. I remember that as a child. We're talking like 5 years old, so I remember that. And I liked it. But I already liked James Bond Jr. as well, so James Bond was already something that was an easy sell for me. But GoldenEye, From Russia with Love, Honor Majesty's Secret Service, Live and Let Die, and The Living Daylights are my top 5 in that order. In that order specifically. They're my top 5 favorite James Bond films. And it's funny, I cover most of the actors. We have a Brosnan, a Connery, Lazenby, Dalton, and more. So there we go. I celebrate the entire franchise. The nice part about Bonds is when you have a bad one, you don't really have too many bad ones follow up. So, for example, the first 4 Connerys are perfect. You Only Live Twice, I dislike immensely. But Honor Majesty's Secret Service is one of the all-time greats. Then we get to Diamonds Are Forever, which is one of my least favorite ones. But then we go with Live and Let Die, which is one of my all-time favorites. Man with the Golden Gun, Spy Who Loved Me, better. Moonraker, dog shit for eyes only, a great movie. I hate Octopussy. I enjoy A View to a Kill. Again, then we go into The Living Daylights, which is one of my favorites. Hate License to Kill, GoldenEye is my all-time favorite. The first 3 Brosnan ones are solid. They go from great to damn good, and then Die Another Day's shit. So I'm not blinded by my love of Pierce Brosnan to say, hey, I love all of his Bond movies. No, Die Another Day's terrible. And then you have, Daniel Craig. I was so against him. Here's how I am. I was very against him. I would have bitched if I had a YouTube channel, but I saw the movie and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And so I was accepting of him as James Bond. Had they come out with Quantum of Solace first, I would have been done with James Bond movies. Just quite frankly, I fucking hate that movie. And then, Skyfall's fantastic. So there you go, The Fixer. That was a super long way to talk about the James Bond franchise. Admittedly, I would talk about Bond more if you ask about it, I'll talk about it. But when I make videos, people don't click on them, and that's fine. We do what you guys want within reason. We're not going to make a video of me hitting Dion in the dick with a rubber bat. Well, I would. If you ask me enough, I might do that. But my point is, Bond just isn't a topic that a lot of people seem to want us to talk about. So that's why we don't at times. But I'm a huge James Bond fan and enthusiast, and I've been following the production of No Time to Die very closely. So the closer we get, we're going to do some crossovers with the Midnight's Edge guys. That's my goal. They're huge Bond fans, and I feel like we could have a good time just shooting the shit discussing James Bond. So if you're interested in that, as always, make sure you follow the channel and see when we go live, and I'll announce it plenty of time in advance. Stephen Morgan, what's up, man? Long time no see. Hey, Jeff. Sorry, just passing through and we'll catch up with the archive, but needed to say hello and let you know I'm always watching and listening and supporting everything you do. Have an awesome Halloween. Stephen, thank you very much. Like I said, messages like that mean a whole hell of a lot to me. I'm glad you're still here. You know, I put in the time, and everybody seems to recognize that, and I'm greatly appreciative that you guys are sticking with us for as long as we have. You know, we always jokingly say, "Oh, we're just getting started," but we are. We always have things we're going to do, and we're going to be around. So, Stephen, thank you very much, and hope you enjoy the archive. Next time I'm live, hope you can chime in and tell me what your favorite thing we've put out in a while was. Linklex7 says, not a Craig fan at all. Only good thing is that he'll make people appreciate Roger Moore in retrospect. Yeah. I think Roger Moore is Roger Moore my least favorite Bond? Here's the thing. Like, when I talk about actors, I'm usually talking like I like him as people or actors, you know? Like, I love Harrison Ford as an actor. I don't know if I could like him as a person. He seems very mean. Pierce Brosnan, who's one of my favorite actors because of his James Bond role, seems like a really nice, genuine guy. So that'd be a different story. Roger Moore seems like a hell of a guy. Great UNICEF ambassador, good person. I was legitimately sad when he died. Not my favorite James Bond, but probably the nicest person to play James Bond. So I'm torn by that. Matthew, I would have loved if we would have seen a Pierce Brosnan starring Casino Royale. I didn't need to see the origin of Bond ever. If you're like me and you pay attention to these films almost to obsessive detail, they talk about his history enough, his family enough. You know, little bits and pieces. You know, James Bond is not Indiana Jones. We saw Indiana Jones' father and his life, and we appreciated the character more. Bond, I don't like the, you know, like they say, you know, your parents had the luxury of dying in a climbing accident. So that's it. That's is enough for me. His parents died in a climbing accident, and he's kind of a snob about certain things. I want the adventures of him. I don't need any of that stuff. We had some super chats rolling. First off, from Cesario Japan. Thank you, Cesario Japan. Opinions on the James Bond video games. Obviously, love to talk about the James Bond video games. Fan. Actually, on my shelf, I got 5 James Bond video games for the GameCube sitting out. 2 copies of Nightfire. I have Agent Under Fire, From Russia with Love, and Everything or Nothing. Now, those are just repurchases. I actually owned those games. One of my copies of Nightfire is an original. But I rebought the James Bond games over the years, depending on the systems that I have available to me. So I might rebuy them again on PlayStation, because as I move, I'm taking my PlayStations with me, but I'm not taking the Switch or the Wii with me, so I can't play GameCube games. But I will take my PlayStation 2, so I'm going to write that down. But I have bought almost every James Bond game, with the exception of the newer ones. So no 007 Legends, no Bloodstone. I loved GoldenEye is my favorite video game. Tomorrow Never Dies was fun. I played that a lot. I think it has one of the best soundtracks of a lot of games, actually. Enjoyed The World's Not Enough. A friend of mine, well, he's my best friend. We're still good friends, but his name's Tony. We used to play The World Is Not Enough all the time. It sucks. Like, we get to see each other every once in a while. I'm busy. He's an over-the-road trucker, so we don't see each other much. But when we do, we always talk about how much fun we had playing that game. And I, for one, loved The World's Not Enough because it had AI bots. I used to think it said Albots, so I'd say, what are the Albots? And we'd fight them and they'd be whatever. But man, we would put them on like either crazy insane difficulty or low difficulty. We just run around, shoot them in the face. It was so much fun. There have been more Bond games. Agent Under Fire, I bought it. I liked it back then because it was the first James Bond game I had in 2 years, and I was still loving Bond. Nightfire is one of my all-time favorites too. 2002, I call my James Bond Christmas because everything I got for Christmas was related to James Bond. I got the James Bond doll, the James Bond DVD set, the soundtrack, the game. Maybe I got James Bond Seen It as well. Point is, everything was Bond related. And that game, man, I played the shit out of that game. It was so cool because it had Pierce Brosnan's face, not his voice. And it was fun. It was a first-person shooter. It looked great on the GameCube. You know, it had a post-credit or a pre-title sequence and everything. So I liked it a lot. And then Everything or Nothing, I actually hated when I first played it. It became one of my favorites because I enjoyed third-person action. And it felt like it to me. It is the fifth and final Pierce Brosnan film. You get the happy ending, you get the cool villain. Go watch the cutscenes; it's very well done. And then I did not like From Russia with Love, because From Russia with Love is one of my favorite Bond films. The change from the film to the game is stupid. If they were going to make a James Bond video game starring Sean Connery, it either should have been a fictional story based in between those films, or it should have been like a Thunderball video game or something where you could elaborate and go after Spectre and stuff on a much grander scale. But From Russia with Love is too cerebral, too intentionally slow-paced of a film to give a video game treatment to and have it work. Andrew Clark says, I'm getting into Bond. Any recommendations in viewing order? If you're going to commit to the Bond series, I say watch them all in order that they came out. Because while they're not direct sequels per se, there is a thread between all the Connery ones for sure. They talk about Spectre. They start in Dr. No. Spectre is the villain in that one. The second one, not Goldfinger. So if you watch Goldfinger first, theoretically, you could watch Goldfinger first and then the rest. But I would recommend watching them in order because it makes it more impactful. Plus, it makes the Aston Martin introduction so much cooler. But yeah, watch from the beginning and go. And it's a little bit of a slog through the Roger Moore era, but once you can get through those, you are in business. And down the road, over on Patreon, you should check out our James Bond commentaries. We're trying to catch up. We're waiting for a patron to join us. That's the thing. Our listener, Trent, we're trying to do a time with him so we can review it together. We have the Living Daylights. He requested that. So yeah, that is my recommendation for the Bond viewing order. All in order and watch them all. You'll have a lot of fun. And I also do read the James Bond books. I saw somebody mention the James Bond novels. That's I own way more than just the Ian Fleming ones. I have them all. When I was in high school, my mom's boyfriend bought me all the James Bond books in like the re-release from Ian Fleming. My aunt had a early printing of You Only Live Twice, which is one of my least favorite James Bond books. And then I have the newer ones. Like I have Carte Blanche, the other one from... I have like the three that are written like they're meant to be Ian Fleming. I haven't read those yet, but they're there on the shelf. I have a James Bond shelf, which is going to be the weirdest thing to leave when I go to California, because it's got a little bit of everything on it. It's got my Aston Martin. It's got my Lotus. It's got my James Bond playing cards. I'll have to take some of that shit with me. I can't leave that here. I love it. Somebody, who was it that just... Okay, Warzard, that is the best question. Have you heard about the theory that The Rock is a sequel to the Connery Bond films? I have. I make my opinions very well known on the channel. I have never once talked about liking fan theories except for one. And my favorite fan theory is that Sean Connery is James Bond and they locked him up because he knew too many government secrets. I've heard that. I think that is one of the absolute coolest ones because I could buy into that. Again, it's a fan theory. It's not really the thing because the James Bond code name is garbage. It's not a code name. It's his real name. Skyfall put that to rest by showing his parents' grave in that film. So there we go. It's done. But in regards to whatchamacallit, that film theory, I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic. And it's fun. It's logical within that realm. So I like it. I wish it was kind of a thing, but it's not. Fanatics of Film, thank you very much. He says, it's so awesome to hear you talk about Bond. Always extremely passionate when talking about Bond. YouTube unsubscribed me from you. What the hell? My favorite Bond movie is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Okay, Fanatics of Film, I know you're a big fan and you would definitely never unsubscribe, so I don't like that YouTube did that. They recently did a big subscriber purge, so we lost hundreds because we had passed 142,000. We've been consistently going the whole time. And then all of a sudden it was at 141. I was like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, like the views did freeze, which bothered me too. Because YouTube goes through like this like systematic update and it affects us. It's not a targeted thing. It's just like, oh, then they're going to update. The video views are going to freeze and this, that, and the other. So we try to do more live streams to kind of circumvent the garbage and the problems that it causes. But in regards to James Bond, yes, I'm incredibly passionate. Bond and Spider-Man are my two things I don't think I've lost the passion for. It's nice that James Bond is not owned by Disney. If that ever happens, I will cry. I don't want it to be. It's very independent from that. But I was, like I always say, I was one of those kids that wasn't watching Disney films and kiddie movies. I wasn't watching Lizzie McGuire. I was watching Goldeneye on repeat. I have a thing that I do. I've talked about it here. When I get a brand new TV, I christen it with Goldeneye every time. I will forever christen a brand new TV with Goldeneye. Why? Because I did it as a kid when I got my VCR, because I had a VCR that broke, and I got this new VCR, and I thought, what is the first thing I'm going to watch on it? Goldeneye. My mom had just bought me the Goldeneye tape. I remember laying in bed watching it. It was the late 90s. So that would have been like the year 2000, let's say. Point is, I always start out with Goldeneye on a new TV. So when I'm in California, if we decide to buy a new TV, Goldeneye it is. I never get tired of watching the film. I actually joined a couple Facebook groups, and I just realized how little Goldeneye merchandise I own. There's all this European stuff. It's like German magazine covers and all this shit. So I'm like, maybe one day I'll start hunting down that stuff. I would love to. There's a Goldeneye store display for the video game that I would love to find. So if anybody ever sees one on eBay, send me the link. I'm going to bid on it. Please don't outbid me because I don't want to lose. But yeah, all you guys got to do is ask for me to talk about Bond. It's one of those things that I know so much about that at times it's hard to convey everything without like trying to set up other things. But overall, it's always fun for me. And Christmas time is my James Bond marathon. So this year, I'm going to do my personal Bond marathon. I'll be moving and packing and stuff like that, but I can always have James Bond playing. Ooh, greetings from Scotland. GW, I love the story of Goldeneye. I love Sean Bean, or as they call him, Sean Bean, on a couple of videos that I watch. The Corgi Bond cars. AJ Journeyman, they re-released those a couple years ago. I bought 3 of them. I thought I had 3. Where's the third one? It must be somewhere else. Toys R Us had them. They were like $25, and they were on clearance for 90% off one day. So I bought all 3. I just thought, why not? Let's see. Does Jesse know about my Goldeneye TV christening? Not like she's going to complain. What's GMPC, Larry? Good morning, pop culture. It's our morning show. Last year, we did it for 4 months straight every day. People had a good time with it. So when the High Council is on my channel and we get 1,000 thumbs up, I gladly do Good Morning Pop Culture. It used to be the next day on Wednesday, but now it's got to be on Thursday because I need sleep. Ever since I ran myself ragged once, I'm kind of like, meh. Let's see. Mikey Gussler asks, nothing personal. Why are you moving to California? Because I just live with Jesse. Things are good. Also, I weigh it against the fact that it will never affect my job. YouTube is my job. I'm very happy and fortunate. And being out there will never affect it or my views or anything like that. So that's why. My time at home's been great. I have a lot of friends, great relationship here. But sometimes you just, want to go out and explore and experience the world. And, I already lived out there for a month. It's not like I'm going out there to, test things out. I lived out there all of August. Most people didn't even know because I still put out videos until I got sick. Everything was in production the same way. Took out all my equipment and it was great. But let's see. That's the answer. Am I a fan of follower of the James Bond experience? I am. I do follow the James Bond experience. The funny thing is, and I don't ever say things like that to try to like build my channel up, but a lot of these James Bond channels are real small, and I'm like, we have a huge audience. I wish I could connect with these guys and do something because it's so fun for me to talk about 007. So, Carlton Banks, Jeffrey, and dark-skinned Aunt Viv are less than Will Smith and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. What? I love Carlton. He's my favorite character. That's my favorite character from the Fresh Prince. Let's see. Anthony Mata, thank you very much. He says, The Living Daylights wasn't my fave either, but the main theme is great. Oh, yeah. Now, Anthony, which version of the Living Daylights theme do you like? And you're thinking, I only know the one from the movie. Yes, that is the official one, but there's another version of the song that AHA made, and then I think John Barry and the crew shot it down. So John Barry went in with them and did a different one, which is the one in the film. I actually prefer the non-film version because it's a lot more synthy and it's cool and it's got the ending is awesome. So check it out. I mean, some people call it unreleased. It's on Google Play Music. It's a great listen. But the whole soundtrack's fantastic. If anyone out there has access to it, Living Daylights, you will not be disappointed. Andrew Clark says, ever thought about competing with EFAP for length? You mean like that long of an episode? The guys and I, for episode 200, which is the night of Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, we are going to have our longest episode yet, and we're going to be on camera the entire time. We're going to treat it like the event that it is. So be prepared for that one. That's all I can say. But also, yeah, we could try. I wouldn't mind doing an EFAP style show. I have a couple ideas that I'd like to test out on the show. I think you guys will like all of them, actually. One of them's call-in segments. So I don't say this to just be like, hey, I love everybody, because you know how I feel about you guys. But I'd like the call-in segment because it'd be fun for you to call in and ask questions, you know? Like, hey, what do you think of this? Or what do you think of that? Just to talk. If I could do anything with my channel, I think what would make me happy is if the channel had the views that it does, or obviously more, but with just doing the live show. I loved the idea of like, hey, you get up, you do Good Morning Pop Culture, and then the next day you do the same, and you just focus on that. That's why I have the secondary channel, to try to put stuff on there for it. That's always been kind of my thing. So I enjoy this. I enjoy this a lot. And I've been on EFAP twice. Once with Jeremy, once with Gary. Like, I'm cool with Mahler. We had Mahler on before Nerdrotic and Jeremy and all these other guys did. We had Mahler early last year, because I started doing crossovers before like the Fandom Menace moniker existed. So the first one was with Ethan. Ethan contacted me and asked me to do a stream with him, and it was fantastic and it was fun. And then the High Council became a thing. And then I contacted Retro Blastin', which is still one of my favorite channels. He and I had the best stream, and it just sucks that people kind of gave him shit because they think we're this hate channel. So that's why we never crossed streams again, because of his fan base being weird. And then Razor Fist, obviously. But Mahler, I had Mahler on. Mahler's been on the channel 2 or 3 times, and I've been on his 2 times. So yeah, everything's cool. But always willing to go back on EFAP if they want to talk Star Wars, comics, Bond, anything pop culture that I'm interested or well-versed in. Game of Thrones, just it wasn't for me. So Xboxer Mike says, big fan, bro. You guys are funny as fuck. Keep it up. Mike, thank you very much. We enjoy doing what we're doing, and the guys and I really play well off each other, so we're glad that you like the humor element. I would hate to be boring. EFAP hates Star Wars now. Hilarious stuff. I honestly, as a YouTuber, it's kind of hard to watch other YouTubers' content that's not short and concise. Like, I watched an Angry Video Game Nerd video before the stream because it was the Fester's Quest one. I'm kind of in an Addams Family mood. So let's see. What are we at? What do you think of Babylon 5? Never watched it. I do not have an opinion. Shout out to friend Adam Shawhan. He's here every day. Andrew Clark, Terminator Dark Fate. We're going to talk about that tonight on the stream. I'm going to make a video about that too. There's a lot to say about. I just had an idea. I'll make the video. You guys can watch it there. That's why sometimes I don't cover things on a stream for very long, because I want to, write my thoughts out and give you guys a much better, well thought out, formulated opinion. Yes, hail the toxic brood. Vince Smoke, I've seen season 1 of Cobra Kai, 10 out of 10, loved it. Big fan of everything they did. And they even made Daniel San the villain, which was cool. To me, that's how you bring back an old franchise. You respect what it was, you don't run from it, and you continue to make it grow and evolve and become modern naturally. Those characters wouldn't represent the views and beliefs of some millennial from born in 91 or something, or born in 2000. It wouldn't be the case. You remember, Johnny Lawrence would have been born in what, 78? No, not 78, 68, right? Yeah, he would have been born in the 60s. And, what kind of views would somebody born in the 60s have? So they did a great job. Lily, yes, Angry Video Game Nerd is awesome. And he is I don't want to call him my favorite YouTuber ever. Maybe he is, though, because I've been watching him since the beginning. I found him very early on, and I stuck with him thick and thin. But he's never disappointed as the nerd. He had that period where he stopped doing the nerd and doing board games and all this shit, which every once in a while I would watch. But overall, his nerd content has only gotten better. And he's what I think somebody that wants to have longevity on YouTube should aspire to. You work hard to find your niche and your audience, and you give them what they want. So I'm really enjoying his stuff. Let's see. We had a super chat from our friend Salad King who says, "Good morning, all. Jeff, thoughts on Red Letter Media's Best of the Worst, one of the best programs on YouTube, in my opinion." Yes, I watched, was it Wheel of the Worst, where they spin it around and they pick that? I used to be huge into Red Letter Media. I saw I think it was their Last Jedi review at first, where they were kind of, no, it wasn't The Force Awakens. Whatever one of their reviews was, maybe it had to be The Last Jedi, where I was like, this is bullshit. How are you guys not seeing through this? So I stopped. But I'm right back in. I've been subscribed. I really like their stuff. Everyone tells me, "Oh, you're going to Milwaukee, do a crossover." I'd love to. How? They don't know who I am, and if they do, that'd be cool. If they wanted to, I would drive back to Milwaukee for it. Mike and Jay and Rich Evans are great. I even like the other people, that one bald guy, and some of their friends that just pop up every once in a while. I enjoy Red Letter Media overall. If the guys, Kendo, Nick, and Dion, were closer, that's what I'd like to do, produce some stuff like they do. But because of the distance, which it's funny, another reason why the move to California doesn't really affect the show is because everybody that's on this channel already lives hundreds and hundreds of miles apart. You know, Nick is in Atlanta, Kendo's in essentially Kansas City, St. Louis, and Dion's way up in Michigan, and I'm here in Ohio. So yes, it's only a day's drive to get to each of them, but at the same time, we don't get together for anything. So that'll be something I'd like to do down the road. Maybe when I'm out there, we'll get them to come out for a couple weeks and we'll film some stuff or whatever. But I never would break up the dynamic of the channel because, like, Xboxer Mike says, we're funny as fuck, so he enjoys it. Nico, I have not yet got my X-Men 3-pack. I ordered it from Party Elm City. What's up, man? You haven't caught one of these in a while because we haven't had one in a while, so welcome back. But Nico, to answer your question, I have not picked up my 3-pack because I ordered it from Hasbro Pulse. Now, if I go to GameStop and they have it available, I'm going to buy it and then cancel my Hasbro order Pulse or Hasbro Pulse order, because as of that 3-pack, I'm done with the X-Men. I have all the Jim Lee members, that team. I even picked up Psylocke because technically she's on the team. But I'm going to do Vintage Colossus, which I already have. So I'm pretty much tapped out on Marvel Legends X-Men because I got them all. The set will be complete as soon as she arrives. I'm not getting X-Force or X-Factor or any of those characters. I'm not going down that path. My rule of thumb is if it's in the cartoon, I'm going to buy it. I have the Juggernaut. I have Apocalypse, the whole wave. I have Mr. Sinister, Magneto, that 3-pack with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I got Professor X in the chair. I got all of them. It's done. And so one day when I get my house with my collectibles room, I will have a shelf dedicated to the X-Men, and they'll all be there. So there you go. Any love for Clive Barker stuff? Yeah, I was watching one yesterday on Amazon. Oh God, what was it? It's one that started out with a bunch of like Manson-esque people in a house, and they were fighting, and the guy had this power. He was juggling a fireball. Oh God, what was it called? Not Nightbreed. Nightbreed was in the one next to it on the list. But I love Hellraiser. The first one only, not the second Hellraiser. Not a fan at all. I don't know about that BDAD 8504. Ask Kitty Pride. Yes, Linklex. X-Men was full of female heroes that were interesting. Storm. Yeah, that was my most anticipated figure. Jim Lee Storm in the white costume. When they released that vintage wave a few weeks ago, it's actually still out in stores. It's newish. I pre-ordered Storm right away. Storm is the hardest figure to find because, one, it's in the Jim Lee costume, and two, everybody loves Storm. I have two different Storms. I have punk rock with the big mohawk Storm, and I have white costume Storm, which is the one I prefer. If you say list your favorite X-Men, obviously Wolverine a lot of people love Wolverine, but I love Wolverine, Cyclops, and then Storm probably. Maybe Gambit. I like Gambit for the cool factor. I don't think he's as compelling as Storm, but I like Storm a lot. Like Rogue. Shout out to our listener, Ryan. Rogue was one of the hardest figures to find. He's like, dude, I got a bonus one. And he just mailed it to me. So shout out to him if he's listening. Cassie, I will definitely remind you when we do our drunk commentary for Galaxy Quest. It's going to be a minute because I don't know what our schedules are like with holidays and stuff coming up, but we'll do it. I think it's a great film. Let's see. Did I watch Lord of Illusions? I might have. That might have been when I was watching Fanatics of Film. Assault Box 15. I do have Colossus. Colossus came in a 2-pack with the Juggernaut. So he's a very cool figure. I also bought the first appearance Wolverine and Hulk 2-pack. So I like that as well. I love Marvel Legends figures. Quite a bit, actually. To a point where over the summer, I was just buying them left and right, like the case. I was like, hey, I like Spider-Man Far From Home. Let's buy the figures. It's like, realistically, I just needed the Scorpion. It's like, but I bought them all. But the X-Men figures, I'm happy I have the entire waves because it's like Build-A-Figures for Wendigo. Forge is a cool character and stuff like that. Monsters, dinosaurs, and things that like I can imagine a James Bond figure set in that scale. Personally, if I had the magical powers to snap my fingers into existence, the James Bond toy line, it would be along the SH Figure Arts Mafex higher quality stuff. Not because I don't want James Bond to be accessible by everyone, but if it's going to do Bond, you got to have high quality. And I have no problem paying the premium price that those figures demand if they're of the same quality. So that's just me, but I would love that. Scott, I agree. Where are the lightsaber fights? It's funny dating somebody that's a sword snob because she's like, these fights are stupid. And I go, these fights are stupid. Not only do they look stupid, they have no emotion behind them. The best part of the Darth Vader Luke Skywalker fight is not the actual choreography. It's how intense the emotion is. The fear that Luke feels. Let's see. Salad King sends in a super chat, says, their subtle jabs at The Last Jedi since Half in the Bag have been so hilarious. Well, Salad King, I do need to go back and give them more views on that. Like I said, they don't owe me anything, so I don't want to say I forgave them and with like a sense of entitlement. Believe me, I'm sure I say stuff that people are like, really, you liked whatever movie and blah, blah, blah. So I understand. But I did feel like at the time, it's like everyone's praising this movie, what the fuck? But they're back, whatever. They're in my regular rotation. Fanatics of Film says you might be talking about Lord of Illusions. That's probably what I did watch, Fanatics of Film. It had the guy from the X-Files in it, the bald guy, Skinner? No. Wait. Maybe. Or was it the principal from Pete and Pete? I get those two actors confused. Maybe it's the same actor. Andrew Clark says, I hated The Force Awakens since first viewing. So many bad storytelling elements. Story reset, Darth Vader wannabe, nonsense enemies, A New Hope again. Andrew, welcome to my brain, December 2015. Like I said, I felt like an alien at some points because I'm like, how is no one else seeing this? I was like just visibly angry. It's like the biggest con job in the world and everyone's sitting there smiling at the screen. And, I think for my emotional well-being, the fact that people can see through the bullshit makes me feel normal because I'm not alone in my views. That movie just sucked. It's funny, when I went to Ollie's to film some videos, they had stacks of that movie brand new on Blu-ray in a clearance store. They don't even carry Blu-rays in that store, but they had that. They had those Blu-rays. So, Disney Star Wars, it sounds selfish, but it's nice to know that other people out there can see through the bullshit as much as I do. And it's reassuring that I'm not crazy in all of this. Let's see. So he says something about John Campea. I cannot handle that guy. Ugh. No, thank you. You all know my thoughts on John Campea. He's just, we've called him what? A shill? Maybe we have. What up, Ryan Cannell? He says, after they got rid of the EU, it was over for me. Tried to give The Force Awakens a chance, but hated it. Well, you're the EU expert. I mean, you're over on Geeks and Gamers. You got your own channel covering the EU stuff. I want to have you on a stream with us because you were on one, I believe. We did an EU stream last year. We're going to do more streams to close out the year, the closer we get to Star Wars. I want everyone's opinions and takes on that. So I had to contact you, and I will. We're talking about NECA toys in the chat. Ooh. NECA does give you Horror Icons B-Dad. I own the NECA Michael Myers, both Pennywise, like the original releases. NECA Batman for Michael Keaton. I have NECA Superman. The only problem, not the only problem, but I have the problem with NECA is their quality control, and the guy that runs it's kind of a douche on Twitter. Just saying, I've seen many, many really douchey responses. But their Predator figures, their Rocky figures were fantastic because that translucent skin they used made them like that little Mr. T, amazing. Little Rambo, those are just like the Commando, Arnold Schwarzenegger. They looked so real. And I wish other companies would develop that kind of technology. It's funny how a lot of their high quality figures blow anything Hasbro can produce out of the water. And it's a small company by comparison. So, I enjoy that. John Campia said he loved Terminator Dark Fate. No. Whatever he's trying to do, don't listen to that man. He's lying. He's lying to you. Let's see. Our friend Salad King, thank you very much, says, thoughts on the vintage collection Boba Fett Slave 1. Only Star Wars ship I still own but love it. Worth a buy. Slave 1 is just so fecking cool. Salad King, I wish I would have bought that for like $100. Isn't that way more expensive now? Boba Fett is one of my favorite characters. I almost considered getting that new X-Wing that they put out. Not because of, anything besides loving Luke's Red 5 X-Wing. I had the original, not the original, but I had the 90s version as a kid. Such a fun toy. I took it on many adventures. And I like the X-Wing. I wouldn't mind having that. Slave 1. I'd want the Slave 1 to go with my giant Millennium Falcon. And then I guess I'd have to get one of those TIE fighters with the accurate scaled wings. And then I think I'd be good. And get the new Land Speeder. Because I have the 6-inch one I got for $20 from some guy secondhand. Brand new in the box. So can't really complain about that. But my thoughts are I'd love it. It's just overly priced. And people say, well, when I talk about Star Wars toys having no value, the modern stuff, the stuff from just a few short years ago, when, the world hasn't changed that much, holds huge value because it's better made stuff based on stuff people care about. So I would buy that in a heartbeat. If I found it for a price that I found to be reasonable, I'm not going to just throw out $500 on, new shit, especially the way the ships are now. The wings are floppy. Like back then, the plastic had, some nice heft to it. The builds were better. The paint actually had paint on it. It wasn't just like a plain molded ship. There was a lot more going on that people don't talk about. Let's see. Dean Hope's Awful says, Jeff, did you see the NECA New York Comic Con Green Lantern Predator 2-pack from New York Comic Con this year? Snagged one while I was there. It's badass. I have not. I have seen their Superman pack and their Batman pack, but let me look that up real quick because I would like to see it. I like Green Lantern a lot more than I do like other DC characters. Okay. Oh, shit. It comes with a Jon Stewart head. Now, this is what I'd like to buy. I don't mind buying, higher priced superhero figures if they look more of like a classic style. I don't like when they pick we're going to interpret the Batman Arkham style with all the armor and shit. It's like, just give me a basic Neil Adams or a close to it Batman figure. The NECA Batman looks really nice. I would like, I wouldn't mind buying that. Maybe I'll think about, I'll look at it and see what the price is. If I need another Batman. Well, of course I need another Batman. But that is a badass looking toy, Dean. See, the only problem is if I buy one set, then I'm going to want to buy the other set and so on and so on. And that's how you have, I can reach my arm out and touch any kind of collectible I want. You hear that? That is a box with a Japanese model in it. So there we go. Black Series Star Wars are better quality than Marvel Legends. Ooh, depends on what you're talking about. Some of the newer Black Series post face printing technology do look fantastic. Not knocking them at all. Maybe don't like Disney Star Wars, but you can't deny a good product when you see it. Then again, Marvel Legends are based on artist renderings. They're not based on real people. So the ability to take an Alex Ross painting and turn it into Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America was fantastic. So when you get those figures, and I know, look at quality over quantity. I get that. What do I sit and talk about these Star Wars movies? But the fact that Marvel Legends are able to produce so many figures that are desired by collectors, and they all reach a certain, they have a standard of quality. It's hard for me not to always go the Marvel Legends route. I mean, you can build the Marvel universe. If I just sat down and said, hey, I want to get Star Wars Return of the Jedi 6-inch figures for everybody, I can't. There's no Han Solo. There's no Princess Leia and Endor gear for the 6-inch scale. But Marvel Legends has all of them. It's like, you want the X-Men? Here's the X-Men. They're all available at some point. Maybe you have to pay extra or go back and get some online. That's just the nature of the beast. But I would argue always that Marvel Legends is the best modern toy line in existence at the mass market retail level. We're talking high-end collectibles. I'm probably going to pick some obscure Japanese line like SH Figuarts or Mafex or Soul of Chogokin. You get what you pay for. Let's see. Tough Nerd Toys says, McFarlane is beginning to make decent figures with articulation. I love the Doomslayer and One Punch Man that I've recently purchased. Tough Nerd Toys, I too enjoy McFarlane's newer stuff. Right here in my hand, I am holding the McFarlane Toys Captain Kirk. It has the articulation level of a NECA figure, which isn't crazy, but I remember McFarlane Toys just being little bitty statues with like a movable head or something. So that is why I never got into those. But I mean, for what this figure was, $20, it looks just like William Shatner. It has one interchangeable hand to hold the communicator and or the phaser, and it looks great. I am a huge Todd McFarlane fan. From him being an artist to a businessman, actually, is the thing I respected him the most. But I hope that his company continues to grow in that respect. I heard somewhere that they're going to get the DC license, and I would love to see high-end DC figures for $20 from McFarlane based on artist interpretation. So it's like, hey, here's Jim Lee Batman. Cool. Fucking awesome. Love it. Here's Neil Adams Batman. Here's this, that, and the other. The DC collectibles line, like the higher end stuff that they release through like fan channels is what they call them from Hasbro. Excellent stuff. The Batman the Animated Series line, come on. I mean, it looks like you took the cartoon, made it in the 3D, and brought it into the real world. And that's why I bought Batman and Joker and Harley Quinn and the Bat motorcycle. That's not a word. And all these things. This quality of those things are too good to pass up. And Batman 89, people are talking about Batman 89, one of my favorite movies. Silverman, it's not an unpopular opinion on this channel to say that Batman Begins is one of the best Batman films, because if you were to say name the best Batman film, it's always between Begins and 89 for me. I'm always torn. Begins, there's just something about that movie that's, I love it. I really just love it. A tour of my collection would be cool. Yeah, the thing is, a lot of my collection right now, because is a lot of it's packed up. So like I talked about that X-Men vintage wave with Storm. I just put it in a box. Like I have this like foldable vinyl box, and they're just sitting up there. Or my Marvel Legends are behind me in a box, or a few of the Star Wars things that I got from the P.O. box are just back in their shipping containers, or Buzz Lightyear or something like that. Eventually, when I do my when I move to like a house, when I have my collector's room, of course I'm going to do that. Like I could show you the tops of my shelves. I have my Power Rangers from when I was a kid, or all the Spider-Man figures, one from each movie type of thing, or the Hot Toys, just random shit like that, or the Rock Shelf. But one day I'll give you guys a complete collection. I just have to build it and put it up properly, because I don't live in a house that offers enough space for all my shit. So, but I'm glad you guys would like to see it. I have, a ton of stuff. It's always been what I'm into. Because to me, to watch a movie is great, but to own a little piece of physical, tangible thing makes it that much greater. So, like, yeah, I have a Michael Keaton Batman on Blu-ray. I love the movie, but to have the Hot Toys doll, it's like I have the physical embodiment of it. So it's just, it makes it a little more real for me, and I enjoy that. A lot of love for Michael or Val Kilmer Batman. I like that movie a lot. How do I feel towards a Batman Beyond movie? Julius, I love the idea. I support it if they make Terry McGinnis look like Terry McGinnis. I don't want them to switch or any of that bullshit. This is not your chance to make a black female Batman or any of this stupid crap. Terry McGinnis looks like Terry McGinnis. Where does it say that? It's in the fucking comic. It's in the fucking cartoon. Well, cartoon came first. But look at it on the screen, and you'll see that's what Terry McGinnis looks like. Even give him the weird big lip. I don't care. But he's got to look like that. But I am well behind, or strongly behind the idea. And you could have Michael Keaton get a hairpiece and play Bruce Wayne. I don't want Kevin Conroy. Look, I love Kevin Conroy. He's the best Batman voice. He doesn't look like Batman. And people say, well, neither does Michael Keaton. But Michael Keaton was Batman, more than a lot of actors. So that's already in there. But a Michael Keaton-backed Terry McGinnis Batman film, Beyond, in the future, so like nowish times or slightly ahead of the future, maybe 10 or 15 years from now. And it would be so cool if you had Blade Runner style visuals. It looks like a cyberpunk neo-noir type of movie, but it's still Batman. That could be cool. That could be how you revitalize the superhero genre in a few years. You pull that out. There are a couple huge things that you could pull out, make a ton of money on, and surprise the fans. Princess says, Forever was also a jam. Features the only good U2 song ever written. Oh my God. I love that song. I don't know if I'd say it's the only good U2 song, because I like U2 enough. I saw them in concert once. But Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me is on my my Google Play music list. Is one of my favorites. I listen to that song a couple times a week. It's a great song. I had that on CD single. But yeah, Batman Beyond would be a great film. Another live-action Ninja Turtles movie in the tone of the comic book, or like the 90s movie, I think could be a very successful hit, but I don't think Hollywood would make that because they always make Ninja Turtles of the time, and right now they look like shit because the times are shit. And there you go. Art Vanderlei, I'm excited for you to see the collection too, my friend. I had heard about Pierce Brosnan and Batman. Remember, I was born in 1988, so I was 8 months old, when Batman 89 came out. So I really don't remember that time. So when I think back to Batman, I just remember, Michael Keaton is always being Batman type of thing. I wouldn't watch another Bay Turtles as well. I'd take Robert Pattinson as Batman at this point. He might be good. I'm not really too excited, but I'll see the movie. It could be great. It could be dog shit. Who knows? Got to be fair. And well, I have been fair many a times. I paid to see Suicide Squad. The movie was dog shit. Let's see. What about a Teen Titans movie? I would watch a Teen Titans movie if it was more in the tone of the cartoon or the old Marv Wolfman, George Perez stuff. Not like the stupid one that's out now. Noah, I don't like the Rise of Skywalker leaks. I think they're dumb. I believe them, and therefore I think this movie is going to be stupid. It's weird how much they infuse into this movie that is not Star Wars. I don't get it. AJ Journeyman, hold on. Silverman, Seal's Kiss from a Rose. Hello, best Batman soundtrack. LOL. Robot Shlomo, what's up, Rob? I'm sorry to remind you that time is a thing that keeps on slipping into the future. But we're gonna have you on to talk about Bond. So sometimes experience and age go hand in hand, and it's important. So there you go. I'm glad that you are here, and you can be old. We can talk about James Bond and Batman because you were there. You remember it. That's fun for me to talk. Like my buddy Joel. Joel will be 50 next year. We've been friends for about 10 years at this point. And Joel was there for 89 in line. Joel remembers the build up to this and Star Wars and being there as a kid. And it's nice to have that frame of reference. So Robot Shlomo, never feel bad. But AJ Journeyman, I didn't like that they switched out Gordon. The Catwoman thing, I mean, we had Eartha Kitt as Catwoman, so there's always been other versions, I guess. It's not meant to be Selena Kyle, whatever. I've watched a lot of Batman 66, but not enough to where I know every specific about the show. Personally, I would rather Jim Gordon be played by like Bryan Cranston again. Like he voiced him in the Batman Year One DCAU animated universe. Why not? Bryan Cranston's an A-list world-class actor. Jeffrey Wright's a fantastic actor too. But come on, Jim Gordon's meant to be Jim Gordon. Again, he's one of those characters that's so ingrained, you gotta make him represent everything, or the way he was back then. So, but no, Silverman, I do love Seal's Kiss from a Rose. That's another fantastic song. I unironically love that song. It's just fun. It's a great song. There's an old episode of the podcast where we kept singing it, and it's just great. I saw those metallic Star Wars figures. I never liked gimmicky figures. Exploding Prinny. My number one demand from all collectibles that I buy is realism, like the best version possible. It's all about it looks as close to the actors as possible. Let's see. All right, we're getting close to the end. The show was supposed to end 32 minutes ago, but I've been having such a good time. Steven, you can get a shout out. I don't want Kennedy running the show either. I'll be having a video about that very, very soon. When will Disney remake the original Star Wars trilogy? Joke's on you, Uncle Remus. They already have, and we've already seen it. Space Jam holds up very well to this day. Just rewatched it last year. Princess, I haven't seen Space Jam in years, but it was weird. I liked it as a kid, and I don't dislike it as an adult. I don't have the same affinity for that. I love Warner Brothers cartoons. As you guys know, do artwork. I'm big into animation, and Warner Brothers animation has always been much more interesting to me than Disney animation. There's just the funny thing is some of the older Disney stuff is actually a little edgier than you would remember. It's not all saccharine Mickey Mouse and all that shit. There's a lot of there's a really good Donald Duck one where he's boxing. And it's pretty funny. He gets the shit kicked out of him, and you just watch it. Look it up. But I prefer Warner Brothers all day, every day. And Space Jam was fun. I'm sure I would still like it. I would love to see that remastered in 4K, like frame by frame animation restored, fix the CGI just to match. Well, it would be rendered in a different resolution, but make it look the best way possible. I have no problem spending money on animation. See, I did hear about that, Jonathan Hurst. The Spider-Man 90s cartoon is going to be on Disney Plus. You kind of have to put all the Marvel stuff on there because a couple years ago, while Sony still held the rights to the Spider-Man movies like exclusively, Disney owned the animation rights. That's why I believe the Spectacular Spider-Man got canceled, which is dog shit because that's the best Spider-Man cartoon, hands down. I love the 90s. I have great nostalgic memories for it. But by the same accord, it's like, as a Spider-Man fan, that show's lacking certain things, or just from a standpoint of there are recycled animation scenes that look stupid. There's a lot of crap that I don't like in that cartoon. So there we go. That's all I can say. Spectacular Spider-Man all day, every day. And if you're a big Spider-Man fan, I suggest you guys check it out. Shout out to Gerlach1025. What's up, man? Matthew asks, is X-Men on the streaming better than the DVD masters because they really needed to be restored to the Fox cartoon? Yes, I have no clue. I'm like you. I'm all about remastering these shows. That could be a really good selling point. It's like, get the shows like you've never seen them before. Like if I don't support Disney Plus, I don't support what Disney does. But if they were to remaster everything in their archives and be like, hey guys, we went back, we future-proofed it, it's all in whatever. Let's just say it's all in high definition and it looks great. Well then, yeah, I'm going to be happier about it, that it exists there. Because nobody should have to pay for a streaming service to get 480p DVD quality. I mean, just watch the shitty DVDs. At least you'll have a box art to go with it. And it'll be nice to hear that that theme song booming in high quality audio. It's the best ever. The 90s Spider-Man cartoon would waste like 10 minutes of each episode doing recaps of the previous episode during an arc. It's a cheap way to cut corners and save money on animation. Yes, that is true. Previously on Spider-Man, and they would show all the shit. Believe me, I was there. I was 6 when that show debuted. I remember it. Every time that theme song hits, like if you were ever to see me in public and you wanted to get me to stop what I'm doing, if all of a sudden the Spider-Man theme started playing, like the old one, I'd be like, I would kind of look around to hear what's coming from. And I would listen. It's a cool kick-ass theme. Joe Perry from Aerosmith plays it. I think he even sings it. I mean, the words are Spider-Man and Spider Blood and Radioactive Spider Blood. I think that's it. That's all. There's all the words. Yeah, it's a great, simple theme song. Not as good as the original, but damn fine. Let's see. SWAT Cats. I remember that cartoon as well. I don't know what's going to be happening, but it was a legacy or a relic of the 90s. So, folks, hold on. I'm not ready to go yet. There's some things I want to talk about. Let's see. Summer of '89 was huge for movies in general, but Batman owned that year, and the VHS was one of the quickest turnovers. I remember up to that time. It seems like it was on pay-per-view/VHS a few months after its first run. Yes, Trip Fontaine, I believe it broke the record because it was out for Christmas '89. I think that was the first step in changing the home video market because people would rent or it would come out years later. I think it didn't Return of the Jedi come out in 1985 on tape. So yeah, Batman '89 was just a few short months. And now we live in an era where Avengers was out in 3.5 months? It came out in May, and by early September, it was on Blu-ray. So, I mean, we're getting to the turnaround time where it's like, if you miss it, just wait a couple weeks, it'll be out on Blu-ray and you can watch it in perpetuity. But 1989 was a great year for film. It's like the nines, 89, 99. I don't know about 09 realistically, but 89 and 99 were great years for movies. 89, you had a lot of you had Last Crusade, Batman, License to Kill's okay. You have Lethal Weapon 2. You have a lot of really solid films that year. 99, you have a lot of more groundbreaking original films, I guess. Matrix and such. And you also have the return of the teenage sex comedy with American Pie. 99 was a very diverse, in quotation marks, year for film. And it was a fun year for film. And I enjoy going back and looking at those things. So let's see. Do we have a Discord server for fan interactions? There was a controversy about another YouTuber's Discord that we wanted to keep away from. So that is why we don't have a Discord. We're playing around with an idea for that. We don't want to open ourselves up to the same problem that other YouTuber had. So there we go. 2002 was a great year for a good year for film too. I enjoyed Spider-Man. At the time, I liked Die Another Day, but it's not a great movie. People like Lord of the Rings. There was a Star Wars movie. It was a very big year. I remember 2002 was I was 13 going on 14. That was the first time where I went, wow, I am really into media. It was a good year for video games. You had Grand Theft Auto, Vice City. You had a good James Bond game. You had a great wrestling game in WWE SmackDown, Shut Your Mouth. There was a lot of quality stuff in 2002. That was a really good year to consume media. Yeah, we do have a great Facebook page on Facebook, obviously. It's a group, so join the group if you want to get involved in the community that way. Superfan Adam Shawhan's there. 1,000 people are over there. We're cool. That's the best way to interact with all of us. We try to talk to you guys as much as possible. So if you guys really need to get in contact with us, there you go. I now have the original Lord of the Rings extended on Blu-ray from our friend Obi-Wan27883. When I get out to California, I'm going to sit down at his house and watch all of them. So that'll be a thing I do. And when I do, expect a full review / live stream about what I thought. It's one of the few massive franchises that I haven't really experienced and we'll find out together if I liked it. Let's see. Robbie Bobby, the weird part for me about Jurassic Park is I have respect for it, but I don't like whatchamacallit. I didn't grow up watching it, so I don't have the emotional connection, but I recognize it as a groundbreaking, great film. I just am not like, oh my god, I don't have the feeling towards it. I saw it at 25 years old for the first time. 23. No, 2013. I would have been going on 25. Doesn't matter. Point is, I enjoyed it. I just didn't have that childhood thing. Matthew, I agree. The Phantom Menace had a huge coverage. I remember every piece of, the hype, the marketing, the merchandise, all that. I was there, loved the hype, saw the movie, stopped. So. Yeah, there are spoilers for The Rise of Skywalker on the soundtrack. There's one called I'm not going to say it. You can look it up if you want to, because we do have a portion of our audience that likes what we do. They like how we talk about Star Wars, but I don't want to ruin the fun for them, So there we go. See, I liked dinosaurs from the Power Rangers, so the Dinozords was about it for Power Rangers for me. If you look at my toys, I don't think I own a single unlicensed toy. Everything is based on something, Buzz Lightyear, Inspector Gadget, Brett the Hitman Hart, Ash from Pokemon, Bartman, Bruce Wayne, Chip Hazard, it's all based on stuff. None of it is a toy for the sake of a toy, like a Slinky or a yo-yo or anything, like a He-Man that's based off, there's a comic book and shit based off the toy line. But all my toys have always been based off TV properties, cartoons, just stuff like that. That's what toys are to me. But, when you go to a toy store and it's Brio wooden train sets and kites and science sets, I'm like, this is not a real toy store. A real toy store has that plus a Batman section, plus the Power Rangers, plus Spider-Man. Toys R Us was the ideal toy store. I'm sad to see it go. So. Yes, Steven, the empire is crumbling. I'm going to have more videos this week. I'm going to get off here in a minute and I'm going to take a break and start working on the next one and then be back tonight with the podcast where I'm on camera wearing my Axel Foley jacket. So it'll be a lot of fun for you guys to join us tonight. Because if you like what we do and you like to laugh and hear different takes on pop culture, well, we're it. We make it pretty accessible for everyone. Good morning, Kevin McLaughlin. Thanks for the thumbs up, buddy. The Phantom Menace wasn't as hated as the thing is, though, very quickly people were making fun of it. The Clerks cartoon came out less than a year after episode 1, and there's jokes about it where he talks to George Lucas about how he wants his money back, and it was true that he wrote it over the weekend. Objection, Your Honor. The Potteries was pretty cool. Really quickly, I remember that happening. So there was criticisms and there were discussions about stuff, but obviously nothing like The Last Jedi where people hated it right away type of thing. But I definitely remember just it being made fun of very quickly. I don't think if I'll ever watch the Lord of the Rings documentaries. If I do, I'm going to watch it by myself. Thank you, Eric. Happy Halloween to you, too. It's been fun. Fan Addicts of Film. I'm just going to wear my Axel Foley jacket for a little bit. Last year, I bought the whole costume, and then my friends didn't want to go out for Halloween, so they have disappointed me more times than not. See you later, Steven. I'll see you next time, buddy. And you know what? I think that's a good way to end the show. 2 hours, 45 minutes, 48 minutes, excuse me, was a nice, meaty stream. So, folks, if you enjoyed this, make sure you give it a thumbs up and give us a share. It's not necessarily about, the size of your platform. It's an analytic for YouTube. So if you have a Twitter or a Facebook and you just have one person that follows you, just give it a share. It'll help us out in the long run. And, it'll help us out. It'll help you guys out. We'll do more content. We'll grow. And the community will continue to flourish and thrive. So, folks, this has been Good Morning Pop Culture. I've been your host, Jeff. And as always, be excellent to each other.